It is a bonus BIC episode 132 live edition. And Saddler Fan is asking here for salt. Oh, we're going to get salt. This edition wasn't planned, but now it is the edition where all shit breaks. Basically, the technology has become like Eric. It's broken and faulty. It's all falling apart. It's terrible. So it's going to be a live stream watch along of Game 3, but in addition to it, it will still be a BIC podcast episode with a lot of the usual features included in it. So Carlos has salt for multiple reasons. That and more in this episode of the BIC podcast. The only good part of all this is that at least the backup technology works somewhat okay. But like, I'm still not too thrilled with it. I gotta be honest, Eric. Like, even though it's not technically appropriate, I kind of want to bring back Cheetos art. Cheetos art at least made me feel better. Yeah. Like Cheetos art was great. That was a golden era in the hobby. But for now we'll stick with the traditional, podcast overlay. But I'm just saying, this is all, Brandon. This is very problematic. This is an issue.
Yeah.
Rough times. So we got some early predictions here. Brandon's favorite commenter says Panthers. Eric's favorite commenter says Oilers. Saddler Fan says, I'm just here for the salt. Fair. That's what I do it for. Valid. Whoa, where's Eric's glasses? They're in the darkness. Probably needs them after the reflection off Bobbles' head. Maybe.
Yeah, I am going highlight tonight. The wool hat is just too much. It's too damn warm right now.
Yeah, you're going full Lex Luthor? I like it. Eric has passed his hangover glasses for now. And we got Wrinkled Wax. This is a new name here. Do we know you, Wrinkled Wax? Or are you new here to this ridiculous adventure we're in? So by the way, so two things. So I'll share the story at the beginning of it. This will be part of the podcast as well anyway. So the iMac that I do a lot of this stuff on, decided to get into a freezing resetting thing actually less than half an hour or so before we actually went live, which is of course ideal. As you can imagine, suddenly the equipment that's being used suddenly decides not to work anymore. Luckily, I have a laptop here that it's actually more powerful at this point than the iMac anyway. So I'm able to connect all the peripherals to it. The microphone is connected and everything, but obviously the camera's a lot crummier. But look, beggars can't be choosers if you're putting stuff together about 20 minutes before you get going. But that's offline. And then Eric, if it wasn't anything else, my favorite part is that the heat pump on there I've been kind of questioning if it's been working properly. I actually had a technician come in today, and it turns out the Freon, the gas that basically it uses in order to actually make things cold and also do the condensation. Apparently, there's a leak, and there's completely none left. And I go, aha! I knew it. So all the equipment's falling.
Not long ago.
Well, it was last year, but yeah. But basically, it had
on gas go.
Yep, it's gone
in your lungs.
What's that?
Where did all the Freon gas go?
It's outside. The unit's outside, Eric. The leak. It's basically, but unfortunately, that's the gas that actually gets the cooling happening. So now, basically, they have to do an expedition to find the leak and then basically seal it back up, and then put the gas back in.
Or is it?
Oh yeah, no, it's all covered. It's all covered.
Good.
Yeah, the thing is, I got to get him to do it. Otherwise, it just blows air. Basically, it's a glorified fan at that point.
Yeah, you better get it done before the next hot day.
Yeah, well, it's already a little bit warm. A couple of days it's not been too bad, but it's unfortunately that means no dehumidifier. So if the humidity picks up, that's basically the issue. So yeah, all the equipment's breaking down all at the same time. I blame Eric and the Indian burial ground. If he would stop disrespecting the elders, and we found out last Friday that Eric's a witch. So I'm just saying.
I'm a Viking. I told you that.
No, you're a witch. We know the truth. We know the truth. You wish you were a Viking. Sadler says typical Apple. I can't complain. Can't put with Sadler. This one has actually been working for me for about 5 or 6 years, and I actually run it into the ground. I use these machines all the time, and that's the first issue I've had with this one. So I'm actually surprised. So now I've got to go do. But this one I got to find out basically what the issue is. I would have expected some kind of a short if it was, but I haven't had any kind of power surge or anything. Oh, whatever. We'll figure it out. But as a result of that, then during the course of this broadcast, I have taken this all in stride and decided that I used the last of my beer on Friday. I have ordered a beer run. I have sent the beer for the beer man. Bring me my beer. So we'll see. I should get that before the end of the broadcast. Obi Great says Gargoyle. It's a code.
Okay.
Is Obi Great Josh by chance? New name?
No, Obi Great I think has been around, but I don't think so. Josh has no problem. He wants the acknowledgement from Eric, so he wouldn't miss out on the opportunity to get that.
I would hope not.
So let's see here. Let's take a look and see how far into the pregame festivities they are, because Lord knows they haven't dropped the puck yet.
We are 37 seconds away from puck drop.
Is that what they're saying? All right, so that's not too bad.
I believe that is the case.
All
That,
right.
or it's going to be 37 seconds away from singing time.
I was going to say, yeah. I'm
I
curious if they
I
actually.
just saw the clock ticking down, so I think it's singing time.
I was going to say, yeah, there's no way they're that fast. For them, this is quick. There's no chance.
And we have DJ Khalid.
You mean DJ Khaled?
I don't know. He's a kind of a larger man.
Yeah, it is DJ Khaled. It's Mr. Another One.
He's a thing going on.
Yeah, he's yikes. He's I'm glad I mute this. Anyway, all right. Bobby says here that they use the neoprene connections in the air conditioner now. It's just junk rubber that leaks. We'll see. We'll see basically what once they find where the leak is, then we'll go from there. We'll find out where it is. Philly Joe says, good evening, Carlson gang. What's up with the lighting? The iMac died, Philly Joe. It has died. Eric killed it with his evil witch powers.
I'm not a witch. I'm a Viking.
He's a witch. He's a witch.
Not a witch. I'm a Viking.
He's a wannabe Viking who's a witch.
Not a witch.
Yes. So, because that's broken, I had to go to the backup, which is the laptop. This is the camera that we used during the expo, because this is the one we used during the expo. So it's the expo setup, but with the regular microphone. So I was able to put it together in a pinch. Dan says, I miss the sunglasses. It is true. Ralph says, singing Pink Pony. Listen, somewhere off in the distance, Paul is very excited about this. And it says, here we go, Panthers. There you go. The rooting interest is in. So that's all good. So yeah, we'll see. We'll watch it along tonight and then hang out a little bit. And we'll see what happens. Before we get into a lot of the regular stuff, though, I will say this. So in addition to the brokenness of everything, I was laughing, though, because obviously carried over from last week. I did have a chance to be on Scott's Live yesterday, and we were talking a little bit about the whole thing. You know, I love how the quote, I'm going to put community in quotation marks, has these little mini controversies and cycles with a lot of it. But what I did is I put it in the title. I said what we do it for, which is referring to the contents. Now, Eric, as a content adjacent individual, can weigh in on it from that perspective. But what makes me laugh, though, is that I enjoyed kind of the back and forth, because in this day since Friday, Brent Richards, who was the original person who made the video that kind of brought a lot of folks to comment on it, did do a follow-up comment. So therefore, meaning his previous video was not his last video, which means he lies to us. He sits on a throne of lies. A throne of lies.
Shame, shame, shame.
It's truly atrocious. It's terrible. Just awful. But what can we do? Eric, it took all of my willpower not to say the last live stream, ... Let's get all the views, Eric. All the views.
All the views.
All the views. But yeah.
I'm just disappointed.
Did he lie to us?
That, no, just, well, I don't care. I was expecting, after the controversy of a couple of weeks ago, that we'd have more hate watchers now. And I'm really disappointed that the hate watchers didn't come over and bring with them the hate.
Have you considered the possibility, Eric, that maybe you just increase the hate from the current watchers? Because some of them maybe are watching neutrally, and now they hate you.
No. The people who watch this regularly are well aboard the hate train.
I don't know, Eric. I get a lot of presents. No. I get flowers. I get bags of cash. A lot of people seem to be into it.
They're well aboard the hate train. I was hoping for some new people to come over.
Then I'm not cutting you in on the bag of cash then.
And I'm really disappointed. So
Dan says, narrator, it was never going to be his last video. Alas, no. Wrinklewax says, let's hope all former Bruins have a great game. There you go. Wrinklewax. So Eric, as far as I can tell, until we confirm this handle, wrinkled wax, should be new. How dare you not acknowledge wrinkled wax?
Wrinkled wax. Welcome to
Even
the
has a
pod.
booby or down in the bottom left. and the right top.
Exactly. It's included in the avatar, in the icon.
Yeah, the dead center. He's got a, Mickey Mantle, New York Yankee player. So I don't know about that one.
Bobby says, what controversy might you be talking about? Everything Eric says is controversial and scandalous.
I may have gave someone credit for being really, really awesome in the hobby. People didn't like that.
Zach says, I was watching the Thunder's playoff game last night. Didn't know Carlos was in with Scott till today. I basically just asked Scott what the topic was going to be about. And Scott says, if you want to come on, just let me know. And I said, all right, I got some time to BS. Why not? I don't mind. But like for me, as long as I'm not hosting it, it's easy for me. It's an opportunity.
I was watching. So I was like, all right, I'll tune in for the game. And I just like, all right, this sucks. And I ended up watching for the 100th time Avengers Infinity War.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, I'd rather watch this. I'd go every once in a while, I'd click back to the game and I'm like, no, this game still sucks. And I go back and watch Thanos snap everyone away.
Wow. Wow. Unbelievable. Awful. Zach says, hate to break it to you, Eric, but most people already forgot what you said. News cycle is fast. Listen, some people forgot what Eric said 5 minutes ago.
I tend to forget what I said 5 minutes after due to the concussions.
Yep.
I haven't had a chance even to get my wear my new helmet yet because I haven't been able to go out and ride. So I got a brand new helmet that I had to get because I trashed the other one.
Does it have all the padding on it?
I was going to say.
Yeah.
Eric, I think for your safety.
You the link to it.
Yeah, I think, Eric, for your safety, you should be wearing that helmet at all times. Even during this podcast and live stream, I feel like the helmet would be appropriate.
I may have to. Maybe Friday. I'll wear my new helmet on Friday. I mean, I paid. They're expensive. Okay. I mean, they're not cheap. They're very expensive. So I got this brand new, very expensive helmet. I haven't worn it.
Now, do you feel, Eric, that that's because the helmet's expensive in general, or do you feel that your gold-plated version, maybe you just being extra bougie?
The gold-plated isn't really the problem. I think it's the encrusted diamonds and rubies that really rack the price up.
So remember, everyone, Eric is a rich son of a bitch. Hit the like button, and I charge him for it. And he's also a witch.
I'm a Viking.
Dan says, I remember everything Eric says. Paul says, you still have time to delete that comment, Dan. Think about it. Bobby Rell says, taxi. I was hoping you'd be moved by his words.
I really used to enjoy the show Taxi.
I feel like Bobby is hailing one. I don't know. Something's going on.
I really like that show.
Saddler Fan says, the sapphire lace chin strap is the real bougie part. True.
Yeah, if you're gonna go big.
Eric might be proud of me because
Maybe.
As y'all know, I go out do my sales and stuff and do my flipping on eBay and everything. And Eric, I bought a damn bike seat.
Whoa.
A bicycle seat, and I didn't know that they had value. But apparently, you can get some spiffy, fancy bicycle seats, and I got one.
Is it an old one?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. It is a Ergon.
Okay, good.
Ergon SMC saddle mountain bike. And they even have sizes. I guess you have to know what size your ass is and actually be honest about it so you know what seat size to buy. Because this one's a medium and large, or medium/large.
It's not so much your ass size. It's really about what is comfortable. Most hardcore cyclists, the saddles are very small and narrow. You don't sit on them all that much when you're mountain biking.
You fall off of them, though.
Yeah, when you're flying through the air, and your bike's going one way and you're going the other. What doesn't matter what size.
But if you get a bigger one, you have something larger to try to grab onto.
Never works. I've tried.
Indeed. So Josh here says the bottom person looks way too bright tonight. Maybe.
Oh, may I? Excuse me. May I?
Go quickly.
Shut up, Josh.
There you go. Zach says, Eric, remember you love mayo. You don't remember because of the concussion. Go make a sandwich. Truth.
No.
Bobby says, that was a helmet joke. Eric and his bedazzled helmet. Ah. Hey, look, the puck finally dropped. Taxi is a Gretzky joke, really from a commercial. That's very particular. I think over us all. Yes. My goodness.
I do really love the old TV show Taxi, though. That's one of
What about the new
funniest-
Gretzky commercial? Dwayne Jetski.
Yeah, Dwayne Jetski.
Dwayne Jetski. Yeah. Good Lord.
She's from Massachusetts.
Great. Fantastic. Good to know.
Jennifer Coolidge is from Massachusetts.
So question for you, actually, Eric, since we've got the game started here. And this was actually, I was scanning through the YouTubes, and I've watched a lot of different hockey podcasts, obviously, during the playoffs. And there were a bunch that were covering a lot of the star stuff, basically after the Pete DeBoer and all that. But one of the ones that I was following came up in my feed, because once you start watching a couple of channels, they'll usually feed you some additional stuff and whatever. So I was watching a couple since obviously we're still in the playoffs. But one of them actually had Katie Nolan on, talking about the Boston Bruins perspective of the Marchand thing.
Mm-hmm.
So the question was brought up, like, how do you, as a Bruins fan, feel about Marchand? So are you supportive of Marchand? Are you kind of bitter about the Marchand thing? So now this leads me to questions. So where are we on the Marchand thing? Are we rooting for Marchand because he was a Bruin? Are we hoping he does well, but ultimately the Panthers don't win? Where are we on this?
I think the majority of the fan base feels the same way about Brad Marchand as we did Ray Bourque going to Colorado. We're very supportive of him. We're rooting for him. We're all Florida fans at this moment. The Bruins didn't even make the playoffs because they suck. And we have 6 Bruins, I believe, 6 former Bruins playing tonight between the two teams. So that's all we have in Bruins Nation. Marchand is a huge part of the Bruins the last, oh, there we go. And speak of the devil.
1-0.
Huge part, big time player, and he's just showed it again. He had the game winner the other night. He's got the first goal tonight. I mean, how could you not like this guy when he's on your team?
And I think the rally towels for Florida are actually involve the rat theme. I actually saw it on YouTube. Oh, sorry, on Facebook. I'm pretty sure the white towels, I think, have like a rat logo they had made up. So how convenient, how appropriate.
Yeah. So we spend money on weird things as collectors in this hobby, and you mentioned the rally towels.
Yep.
I spent a lot of money on the Seattle Kraken rally towels.
Okay.
For my wife, the year the last time they made the playoffs, first time they made the playoffs.
Uh-huh.
And I sit back and look, and I'm like, why did I spend that much on them? Anyway, it just brought up a memory when you mentioned rally towels.
I see. So real quick, I'll read a couple here. Ovi Great says, will we ever see a Gong Show collab? Well, Bobby would stop warring with them, allegedly. The greatest YouTube hockey minds face off in a trivia contest. I'm not holding my breath. The Gold Florida Man score. Philly Joe says. SOB says, yep, being able to call Marchand Florida Man brings a smile. There you go, Paul. Look at you.
Yeah, I said this Friday, whether you like him or not, and people have strong feelings of him either way. I don't think anybody's neutral. I think you either love him or hate him. He is going to go into the Hall of Fame. He's got a Stanley Cup ring. He has a lot of he has a lot of good standing and with a lot of different records, Bruins records and league NHL records. The he's a special player, and has he done some stupid shit over the years? Absolutely. But he's also the guy who scores double overtime goals and has 8. They just popped up. He has 8 goals this playoff season.
Yeah, well, on 3 in the last 2 games because he scored 2 in last game, and then he's obviously the goal so far.
You want a big time player. That's the guy you want on your team. He's going to come through. And now when he was younger, the problem was you knew he could be this player, but was he going to do something stupid to put him in the box for 5 minutes or plus, or get kicked out of the game, or get suspended for a game, or get fined, or be a distraction in the negative? And that was a concern for a period of time in his career. That's not really an issue anymore. He's kind of matured out of that finally at, late 30s. And I think he's a much more respected player in the league today than he was, 7 years ago.
Okay, great. Confirming your statement about no neutrality.
Yeah. See, and that's just the way it is. Yep. What do they call him? The nose face killer?
I don't know. Well, listen, you would know his nicknames more than I.
Yeah. The little ball of hate, the nose face killer. I mean, he's got lots of them. The rat.
Wrinkled Wax here says Bradley MVP Marchand. I'd be curious actually, because they've done it before now. Upper Deck actually did the rally towel insert. I'd be curious to see if they would do the rat as a rally towel insert, if they did that insert again. Because you could probably you'd be able to get your hands on a bunch of those easily, and you'd be able to make some cards out of them, no problem.
Oh yeah, but as long as they weren't that expensive, I mean.
Well, the rally towels just included your seat. They just put them on the seats.
Yeah, but I'm just saying. But if I got a card,
yeah,
with if I was at a card show and there was a Brad Marchand card that comes up in a year or two, and it's got a picture of him in a Florida uniform and a rally towel, I don't think that should cost hundreds of dollars.
Well, based on like even the Medano, like I was able to Brad sent me one, and I had actually bought one previously. It was like $30. Like they're not expensive.
Yeah, they shouldn't be. But sometimes in this hobby, they do things like that, and the price, just look at the fake. I don't want to say fake because that says that there was malice in trying to con. The Dick's, the sporting goods special jersey pieces, manufactured jersey pieces. Why are people paying hundreds of dollars for something that was purchased at Dick's Sporting Goods? It doesn't make any sense. Yet people do it.
I was turning the game on, Wrinkled. I was trying to find it on my Verizon, the channel thing I have on here. I was turning the game on.
Well, I was explaining. It was funny though. I was explaining during Scott's live when we were talking about a couple of things, and I did enjoy that we somehow managed to get the national talk in there though. That was kind of fun. As we talk about the leaky rowboat to the national. It's not the road to the national anymore. We need more time. It's the leaky rowboat. You have to consistently patch the boat to get on that way. The slow crawl to the national. I
don't mean to interrupt. I'm sorry. I don't usually interrupt. Shouldn't we be talking more about because I just saw it recently. I'm going to wander for a second. Because my eyes have been so bad, I haven't been able to look at my phone or look at the computer. I haven't kept up with anything, including news, because it hurts too much to look at the phone, right? Well, now that I'm able to do it, I saw that Fanatics Fest is like 10 days away.
Yeah, the CEO has started making the rounds a little bit. Yeah, it'll be back at the Javits Center.
So it sounds like that should be the road to Fanatics Fest, because that was a huge hit last year, and I assume they're going to go even bigger and better this year.
Well, I think what's holding it back, to be honest with you, I think the biggest differentiator is that after the first one, now they understand. I think a lot more people understand that it's a convention, it's panels, it's connect. It's the WWE. They'll have an entrance ramp. You can do WWE style entrance. You'll have WWE stars doing these different meet and greets and all this stuff. It's basically like a celebrity show, Yeah, they'll have some dealers that'll have some stuff, but the actual dealer card show portion of it. And I use what's funny is we used the analogy the first time we talked about Fanatics Fest, and I talked about the All-Star Game Fan Fest. I use that as an example of being like, okay, it's the All-Star Game. They got a card show related to it, but in reality, it was like a small card show. But the attraction was, hey, here's a bunch of hockey folks. There's rotating autograph guests, and these different things are going on. Radio stations are doing live hits from the place, and you could walk around and check out all the stuff. But yeah, there's a card show there, but it's secondary to the rest of it. There will be like probably an exclusive drop of some kind. I don't know exactly what it'll end up being, but I think that's what's holding it back because it's just going to be a very expensive pop culture event. Let's just call it a pop culture event. It's like a fan fest, a pop culture event, which is not a bad thing. There is a place for that. And since you're doing it in the Javits Center, I think the conditions will be pretty comfortable. But yeah, it won't be cheap to be there. You'll pay through the nose. It is New York City.
It was very expensive for everyone last year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not going to get less expensive.
Yeah. So my expectation is it's going to fall very similar to last year. I think it's going to be I think it'll be a good show for people that understand what they're getting into. And as long as they understand that, I think they'll be happy with the result. And if they go into it with the right expectation and they want to see, the panels or see people, or maybe Tom Brady randomly walks by and tells them, hey, here's a good autograph guy, unlike those douchebags that Eric likes.
Yeah.
I hate those guys.
Yeah. Here's $5,000. I stole this from Eric Wade.
As you should. Sadler says, a Disney-esque event for sports. Cheaper if they do it in Ohio. I don't think they care about being cheaper. I think they care about people actually wanting to go. It's Friday already? Maybe. Well, remember, if you keep looking at the brick phone, you're not going to know what date it is. Don't fight this. Join us in the future. Last year they had the Curiosity Crowd. This year is zero buzz. I don't think they'll have any issue getting people in. There's no buzz, but I think the people that are going to go are still going to be interested in going, because a lot of the people that I checked in with that actually went in to do it as a show, that weren't worried about a card show, they enjoyed themselves. So I don't think that'll be the issue. And a lot of them were very excited to see Tom Brady randomly wandering around and the WWE superstars showing up and all that. That's what they were there for. That if you got rid of the cards, they'd still be there. They're not interested in the cards. That's not what it's about. You gonna do Santa this year? Maybe.
Maybe.
Still time.
I'll be sitting here, but I gotta do something. I'll be back in a second.
He's ordering the mayo for his eyes. 14:35 in the first. So real quick, I'll touch on the topic just since I've got you here, Ben. We can touch on this. So one of my things that I was kind of focusing on, and I decided not to do the video. I thought about it. I was going to, but I was like, there's already been enough videos responding to it. I laugh though, because sometimes we get this cycle where people will go back in and like, the question will be like, when people do make videos and they do stuff, YouTube stuff. And the question is like, what are you doing it for? And that's kind of the thing I mentioned to Scott and those guys. My overall take was, whatever your reasons are, it doesn't really matter. If it feels like you're putting in too much effort into it relative to whatever it is you want to get back in return, be it community interaction, maybe you don't get enough of that, or maybe you are trying to get views and you're trying to build up a subscriber base and trying to get some kind of a message out, but you feel like you're putting in all this extra effort, because if you're editing videos or sitting down, coming up with all these ideas, all that takes time, right? And most of us, this is very few people's day job, especially not in this niche. So it means whatever time you're doing this for, it takes time away from something else. Mm-hmm. So be it family, be it work, be it business, whatever else you might have going on, it takes time away. So the question is, what are you doing it for? Because the answer to that will determine how much time you should or even can give to trying to make videos or lives or whatever, because it's time out of your day. And I was kind of I was saying to Scott and Brad when we were talking about it, is I just said, like, I like making videos. Obviously, I make quite a number of them. Even this year, I've made 90 videos on this channel and another 20 on the wrestling channel. And we're in June, early June. The only reason that works, though, is because my stuff's streamlined. I'm doing live streams, which we do live. Or if I do a recorded video, most of the time, I hit record. I do pretty much in one shot. I might clip out, I might cut a couple of things. My editing time is very minimal because I'm not doing crazy editing. And then I upload it, do the thumbnail, which I've got templates for. You know, the thumbnails aren't as exciting because I'm doing whatever I can to take extra work out of it. Hashtag no effort. And then I upload and we go. But by doing all that, I'm not giving too much. That means I can make the video and it doesn't take too much away from me. It's not preventing me from doing other stuff I want to do. And that allows me to do those videos. Otherwise, no, I'd have to cut back substantially because it just would make no sense.
I look at my content and I was doing more. I was good about getting back into it. And then I started having the issue with my arm and it was difficult for me sitting here in this chair. But I look at my content and YouTube kind of in the same cycle as how my collecting went. Because when I initially started doing YouTube, it was just something fun. Like my early videos were awkward as hell. And even the ones today probably still are. But I was sitting, actually, I was over there, not in this corner. And I wasn't on screen, nothing like that. I was just opening, I think my first video was a 2018 Topps holiday box. I was trying to get an Acuna Metallic, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
But it was just fun. It was before the pandemic. It was just something that I thought, okay, I'll sit here and, if I get a blaster or something, I'll open it up and just record it, right? And then when I got my first, my channel was all literally stupid, dumb luck in the way the timing happened.
Yeah,
because,
with the SGC stuff, exactly.
Yeah, I had sent an order off, and it came back right when the pandemic was hitting. And I did really awesome on my grades, and I was excited about it. And I was like, man, people might want to see this. And so I shared it. And then the pandemic hit, and PSA shut down, and Beckett shut down. And that video where I was doing my reveal got all the views, and people were asking about the sales. And so I was doing it literally created content because people were like, well, what are you selling them for? So I could show what I was selling the cards for and stuff. And then, I sent another order off, and that just kind of flowed in. And then I started, like you mentioned, the lives. I wasn't comfortable sitting here just talking. It was unnatural to just be in front of a camera and talk. That's another reason why I like this, is because we're having a conversation. But doing the live, I would go live every night because it was the pandemic. Everybody was home. People had free time on their hands. So, people would come on and watch. And so every night I would go live because it was easier than trying to record a video and learn how to edit. And I didn't have the knowledge of recording and editing stuff like I do today. But that just kind of flowed in. And then obviously people started asking if we would do bulk submissions, and it led to that. And then, I would have the SGC updates because there wasn't a ton of channels even talking about SGC back then. And I started phasing out because there is so many people now that will do the SGC updates because they did become irrelevant in the grading space. So it's kind of like regurgitated information, so to speak. So now I just kind of share things with the collection or topics like that, and then I'll do the previews and reveals sort of thing. And I'm to the point where it's back to kind of square one, where I just do it for me, for fun,
Right.
There's not any, if 30 people watch it, great. If 3,000 people watch it, cool. But it's just, it's something fun. I also look at it as, I'm not rich off of YouTube by no means.
Yeah. Well, you don't have the Eric like button to capitalize on.
I don't have the Eric like button. You're right. But one thing it has done is there has been friendships, and not just me making friends. There has been friendships that have been formed because of the Facebook group we created, and, people talking to each other and finding each other through that. Eric's talked about it before. Without doing some of this, there's a lot of people that we wouldn't have known.
Yeah.
So
and to be clear, and I'm going to pop off in 1 second because it's almost beer o'clock. But just before I do that, I want to say something important. Without all of this, Eric would be wandering the street trying to cast spells and probably being chased by villagers with pitchforks and torches.
Not a witch. Not a witch.
Whatever you say.
In Massachusetts,
Be right
too.
back.
But no, seriously, like we created the Facebook group because it felt like the easiest place to relay information about the group submissions and everything else. And that at one time, I think, was somewhere around 700 people, and which isn't massive, but that's still a good portion of people.
700?
We have over 600 in there right now.
That's huge.
But it was like during the pandemic and stuff, especially, it was like people were posting and talking about hits they got, or boxes they opened, or selling, trading, buying, all of that. We rented the house in 2022, had, I think it was 10 or 12 people. Like, we rented a house and a bunch of the people from the group came and stayed. We all got to, get to know each other better on a personal level and hang out and stuff. And that was awesome. So monetarily, I've not made hardly any money on YouTube, but there has been not only friends I've made, but friendships that have been made outside of that. And to be able to say that we even had a small part by creating the group and people finding each other and becoming friends, that's pretty damn awesome. I don't know how else you could do that without, this kind of platform and just taking the leap and doing it. So, like I said, I don't, I don't do a ton of videos or anything like that anymore, but I still enjoy getting on every so often. I approached Carlos about this because I was doing the podcast with Refractor Jones. He unfortunately had something come up within his family, and so he was no longer able to do it. And I missed just getting on and talking about the hobby, bullshitting with people. It's fun. And I had popped on Fridays, and so I asked Carlos, hey, would you ever want to do the podcast thing? And I think we're close to 2 years doing this now, regularly. I think we're getting close. So, Carlos, we have no audio from you.
Nope, had it on mute. I was going to say, yeah, probably getting closer about that. I'm not sure if it's exactly that amount, but pretty close.
I think it was episode 38 was the first, if I remember correctly. So I think we're getting close, but yeah, I mean, that shows too, just if you have something that you enjoy, you can stay consistent at it. We've all, unless there was something come up and we just couldn't be on here.
Yeah.
All three of us have been on every week.
I'll touch on something though related to what you just said though. I want to hit on one specific thing that kind of plays into that theme that I was saying a couple minutes ago. I'll read a couple comments so I'll get caught up. Philly Joe said, I saw something that was like 2 million something with fans, celebrities, and sports stars vying for prizes. Could be. Dan says it's going to be Dustin Geoff and lots of crickets. I'll take that bet, Dan. I think they'll be fine. Like I said, I think the majority of people, especially after the first show, you're underestimating how many people genuinely don't give a crap about the cards. You're not going to the Javits Center to Fanatics Fest for cards. They happen to have cards, but that's not what it's for. It's to do the panels. It's to do the meet and greets with a bunch of the WWE Superstar ones were the ones that were sold out the quickest last time. They were and that's nothing to do with the cards. Fanatics had just barely gotten the license for the cards, so they hadn't even really had much to even share at that point. That wasn't what they were selling. What they were selling was access to these folks, and just bringing them in was enough to get folks excited about it. Oh, Triple H is here. Oh, this person's here. That person's there. And that's what they were into. Mike Baseball Collector had a video talking about making content, kind of going off what you're talking about. That's part of what I was also speaking of and responding to. Yes. Mike took a different tack on it. And the thing is, I didn't disagree with his thesis. That's what was funny about it. I would present it a different way, but I didn't disagree with his point. Dan says, I do a lot of prep work into my videos, but it's reading and learning about stuff I love, and generally only do one video a week. So this is what I was going to get back to, and this is speaking to what you're talking about, Brandon. So, and I'll play it into the podcast as well. Hakuna Matata, maybe. Jeff says, hello, everyone. Good evening, Jeff. So kind of going into this, Dan does a lot of prep for his, because his are focused on, the show about this player or that player. And then he'll have some research about the player or the card or the set or whatever the case may be. And as he says, he loves doing it, which is great. And he generally does one per week. Great. I tend to do a bunch of videos. As I said, I'm at 90 videos this year already. That includes live stream, but that also includes standalone videos where I just make a video. Well, Could I do a bunch of prep into it? Yeah, but then you're getting into full-time job territory. Like if I'm putting out that many videos and then also doing deep research, it's going to be very time consuming. Go ahead.
Dan clearly has different rules for his channel than we do for ours.
Well, I laugh about this, but I'm also being serious. I learned when I was doing recorded videos and having topics and such,
Mm-hmm.
the videos that I would take time and put effort into and do research and even make like graphs and charts and all this other stuff, like whether it was breaking down the amount of parallels or that Panini products had or whatever years ago and like comparing and all that, the videos I thought that would be interesting, helpful, and that I put time into, nobody gave a shit. Nobody watched them. The ones that I would just get on and like have absolutely no plan and think that it was the worst video I'd ever recorded, those were the ones people would watch. So it works and it doesn't work, but I found that most cases, if I put effort, thou shalt not effort, but if I put effort and thought it was going to be something good, it usually meant it wasn't going to be.
Yep. So just looking at it, so kind of playing into what I was saying there is because of the style of a lot of the stuff that you do, it doesn't necessarily require as much prep work. I will look into stuff ahead of time just to have it. That's what I like to do. But at the same time, no, a lot of times we can just go off the cuff and that's fine because there's no crazy expectation on what we're trying to accomplish here. So that's important. But because of that, it also means that I don't have to spend too much time preparing for it. So it means a lot of times I'm just hitting record. And if that's what you're doing, then you're not taking up as much time. Then you can be like, all right, I'm done. Upload it, record, thumbnail, boom, upload. And then you're off to do whatever else you're going to do. You can be watching TV, you can be hanging out, you can listen to music, whatever. But with that extra time, if I was putting in that much more time and I was editing heavily, then my expectations might be really different. I might be thinking about this going, oh, well, then I have to make good use out of my time because, well, what if you spent 6 hours editing a video and it gets 200 views? Well, that would be very sad. If you spend 5 seconds uploading a video and literally that's all you did and you get 200 views, you might be like, oh, okay, that's pretty good.
There's another added part that many people probably maybe not even realize or discuss about it, but you're talking about the time of doing the research and the actual video part.
Yeah, and even recording, yeah.
But if you become a channel that is heavily watched and everything else, there is a lot of time that's taken up outside of even those portions because you'll have people messaging you or, talking about, whatever topics and all of this. So there's a lot of extra time even built in outside of that with communication and stuff. Mm-hmm. So I know like back, like when I said the Facebook group and all that stuff was like really, busy and like people were participating a lot in it. My phone would blow up all day with, I don't know how many people messaging and stuff, not only the messages in the group, but private messages and everything as well. So there's that added time to it as well. Another layer.
I agree. Yeah. And that's why I say it, but that's why I go back to like the title was what we do it for. And the answer to that question is going to determine basically what your expectations are. It's going to determine what constitutes success for you. Because if some people do listen, some people interact with you, they respond, you get a little bit of back and forth, and you basically can just hang out and, literally watch a hockey game while BSing, while getting beer delivered, we're saved. And that's all good. Like, look, this live stream already cost me money. So like it's like right now I'm in the red. Just from what I'm drinking right now. It is what it is. What are you going to do? But like, yeah, if you're looking for money or you're looking for, tons of clicks and all that, then yeah, this is probably not the route that this would not be the path that I would take. I would look at the Pokemans. I would look at a whole other categories. You'd probably do better. And that it depends again, what you're trying to accomplish. Dan here says, but if you're an attention seeker, making videos about obscure collectibles is not going to be rewarding. Absolutely not. And I see so many niches and genres that actually can get a lot of eyeballs if that's what you want to do.
I'm an attention seeker. I seek that attention.
You do.
I need it. I need it. That's why I want to be Hall of Fame adjacent.
But I bet, Eric, if you tried to seek the attention while holding Legos, it would quadruple our view count.
Legos?
Yeah. Apparently, I actually was checking. I was checking out some related people that do videos and that have like second and third channels, and some of them have started to do Lego channels, and they actually get decent views for Lego. So I'm sitting there like
Lego. As someone who, as a another hobby of mine, and there's sets back there, there's sets over here.
Yeah.
It also.
I bet you Bobbles and Legos. I bet you Bobbles and bricks would do very well.
Yeah, well, there's also a lot of investors in Lego because the sets, once they're retired, some of them are worth a crap ton of money.
Yeah, to be honest, when my daughter was younger, and was into that, we go to the Lego store at the mall, and now this was 10 years ago. She's she's 20 now. This is like when she was 10. I was like, are you freaking kidding me? And we had to disappoint her a few times because she wanted this, and I was like, I am not spending $125 for this. No, you can have this for like $25, and even
Eric
that
he would crap his pants if he's seen some of the receipts.
Yeah. So some of them are bad now. Like some of them, I was just I watched a couple of videos and I was like, here's the thing. I enjoyed Legos when I was a kid, but I didn't get into it that deep. Like I had the very, very basic stuff that I'd play with a little bit here and there. And that was like the extent of it for me. But I've seen what some of these sets go for, and I was like,
insane.
Oh.
I have 2 sets downstairs right now that combined between them, they cost me $1,100. And they haven't been put together yet.
You're gonna need some of that sweet like button money, my friend.
The missus has all of happy.
I'm just shocked over how much it costs.
Well, these are the 2 Lord of the Rings sets.
Sure. But I'm gonna give you an example, kind of playing into what we were talking about Fanatics Fest, that also kind of explains there's all kinds of stuff for all kinds of people. Dan here saying somebody who feels the need to dramatically announce their exit from the space probably wasn't made for that space. Shots fired.
Oh, to your point about the niches and stuff, though.
Yeah.
So my reseller channel, which I haven't done a video on there in a very long time, almost a year now.
540 flips.
But just to show how niches go, I have a video on that channel that has 11,000 views. My highest viewed video in sports cards is only 5.2 thousand views. And coincidentally, I didn't even realize it at the time, but it was the topic of eBay. And in the title, I put resellers. So my highest sports card video was also attracting the reseller crowd. So that's a great example of the sports card space versus other spaces in the views and audience and everything.
Yeah, well, that's just it. Exactly. So it's one of those things where I watch videos from these other niches and I can see the views they get, and it's like, but it's not a surprise to me. Like there are some very passionate viewerships over there. There's just more people. That's really all it comes down to.
I actually seen you did, it was one of your recent videos. You had your page up that showed what, like, your subscribers and stuff. And I've seen you're subscribed to Harry Tornado.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. Because here's the thing, Brandon, when it comes to YouTube, I'm interested in a lot of stuff. That doesn't mean I'm going to make videos about it, but I still want to hear what's going on.
Some of it's entertaining, even if you're not doing it. Yeah.
I want to hear what's going on. I want to listen to what they're saying. And this may be like an indicator of how sometimes I sometimes get really good ideas by looking outside of the sports card space. I want to hear what's going on over there, because that's why I say even the Lego thing. I watched a couple of videos where the folks talking about their little Lego sets and the stuff they collect and whatever. But it's like, is it for me? No. Does it motivate me to go buy a Lego set? No, it doesn't. However, they're very passionate about it. I'm still interested. Tell me about it.
I mean, some of the freehand, I don't know how else to call it, freehand Legos artwork that people can do are it's insane. I mean, if you ever been to like a Lego land or something, that full size like human creature Lego, I mean, it's freaking remarkable. And I'm like, I built like a square car. I think, you know,
Well, they
know,
have shows
I
just
pretty
like
much with a box with wheels on it. I thought I was big time.
Brandon, you know what I want? I want one of these Lego pros to build me a diorama of Bougie Eric flying off his bicycle and crashing into a tree. That's what I want. This in Lego.
that would be interesting. Yeah.
This is a piece of art that would go in the Louvre,
Yeah,
right beside the Mona Lisa.
some of the you know, the freehand stuff that people do, and I'm sorry if I'm not using the right term, but you know, it's freaking amazing.
Yeah, but basically they're just taking the bricks and building whatever based on like just they're not taking a preset. They're just making their own thing.
They're doing that out of their own head.
Yeah,
they know how to manipulate these blocks, and it's like I couldn't figure out how to do that.
There is Snake Mountain and Castle Grayskull back there, and then over there you can see the Mario question
just make it easier to see. Yep.
And then Bowser, and then over there is the Home Alone house, and then there's a bunch of like the little heads and stuff that I have lights in them, but they don't show up great on the camera. But there's Venom and Carnage and Mandalorian and Vader.
There you go. I like it. Jeff says, so Sadler is saying Eric needs that $700 AT-AT. That's correct.
So that's the AT-AT and from Star Wars. And I was thinking Millennium Falcon. AT-AT? Yeah.
We don't even use the letters.
No, it's an AT-AT.
All right. Jeff says you should have sold the and bought all the Legos. Facts. Tony Tata here. I haven't seen this name before, but good evening. Evening, gentlemen, and Guy from Rounders. Nice.
Do you think that's really Tony Taddy?
Maybe.
We had Tim Kerr on. We had Tim Kerr on Friday. It's like we're getting some ex NHL superstars here.
And Eric, and you are questioning the reach.
I know.
How dare you?
Tim Kerr and Tony Taddy within 2 shows. That's awesome.
Just saying. That's what we're talking about. The hockey's brings into it. But bottom line is that, yeah, no, there are these little niches and pockets and genres. And like, I'm still interested. Like, you know, tell me about it. Look, if you're that passionate about it, I still want to hear it. Go ahead. Like, explain it to me. Like, I'm watching it as an observer. I'm just like, yeah, explain it to me. Give me the rundown. What's this? So kind of playing into also what we were talking about there with the Fanatics Fest. I went in and checked the guest list for the meet and greets and the photo ops and the autographs and stuff. And guess what? 2 weeks to go, shock of shocks, all the sold out ones are WWE stars. All of them. So, and for John Cena, assuming you can see him, the photo op is $324.42, which includes $25 in fees. Sold out. Autograph, $324.42. By the way, the photo op is separate from the autograph. $324.42 for each one. So if you get a photo op and an autograph, that is $648 plus.
That's that.
And that's assuming you can see the man.
Yeah.
Scandalous.
Is Mick going to be there?
Mick is going to be no, not this one. Sorry, I was about to say Santino is the one that's doing it locally. They've got who they've got here. It's in alphabetical order, but they've got here Alexa Bliss, Becky Lynch, absolutely. The ladies, no shock, sold out. You can get your Bianca Belair if you still like, so that one hasn't sold out yet. Dom Mysterio, sold out. John Cena, sold out. Penta, who's relatively new to that company, not sold out yet. Randy Orton, sold out. Rey Mysterio, sold out. Sami Zayn, still around, it's not sold out yet. Seth Rollins, sold out. And by the way, they've got Pujols, they've got Andy Pettit, they got Alex Rodriguez, Allen Iverson. They've actually got a ton of sports folks as well. Anthony Volpe is actually the only sports person that's sold out here that I can tell. New York, that makes sense. Archie Manning is on this list. Bernie Williams, Billy Wagner, Brian Dawkins, Cal Ripken Jr.
That should be a big one.
Yeah, you got CeCe Sabathia, CeeDee Lamb, Charles Woodson, Charlotte Flair is there, not sold out yet. Chelsea Green is sold out.
Still wrestle.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I thought I just haven't heard much about her, and
she recently came back. So she was away for a bit, and she recently came back.
She had a baby. She's get tired of it. What?
She tore her ACL.
Oh Jesus!
So she was out for a while.
Okay.
Yeah. She's only been back really a little while recently. Cody Bellinger, Chris Webber, Cody Rhodes, sold out. Kuba DeJean, Damian Priest, sold out. So like literally the WWE folks, most of them. And you even got Dwight Gooden, Dwight Howard, Dennis Rodman, Eli, Emmett Smith, Eric Dickerson, Lundqvist, Jack Hughes. Jack Hughes isn't sold out there, but Jacob Fatu is from WWE. So like the WWE folks, man, like I'm actually literally when I'm looking at the sold out, a lot of them are WWE.
Hey, Florida's up 2-0. I missed that.
So I saw a no goal there. Does it count? Looks like it did. Okay.
It counted, but I didn't see it.
Yeah, so I'm going to scroll here. Sadler says, Oilers, penalty maxing tonight. Hey, you got to take advantage of the penalty, man. If you got a power play, take advantage of it. Good evening, Stuke. Bobby said no goal, but it looks like it is a goal for Hagee. Good evening, Ham. What's the score? 2-0 right now. 2-0 Florida man. 2 sniper shots, says Paul. There you go. We got caught up. Thank you for the comments, folks.
I wish they show it again.
They're showing it right now.
Okay. Well, I'm at 145, so
yeah, they show a replay a couple moments later. I'm seeing it right now. It was a good shot. It was a good shot.
Here we go. Here we go.
And they even got freaking Kevin Costner for this thing. Jeez. Okay. Interesting.
Oh wow. He had
about money.
He had about
how much money total do you think is spent?
On what?
On just say the photo ops with Cena being 380 or 340, whatever you said. How much total do you think will be spent just for photographs?
Oh, it's going to be obscene because like here, what you can't see here is how many were available to begin with. And the thing is, it's not like they're going to take 5 photos. Like realistically, they're going to have at least a little bit of time, and it doesn't take long. Now, what's funny? So Kevin Costner, I'll use an example. Obviously, he's not sold out yet. He's only doing photo ops. It's $434 for him.
You don't even get an autograph?
Nope. None of all of the photo ops do not include an autograph, Eric. It's just a photo.
No. I understand that. I'm asking. Kevin Costner's not signing things.
Nope. Kevin Costner refuses to sign shit for you, Eric. So no.
Oh, fuck that.
But for $434, you can take a picture with the man. And if you're really good, Eric, if you're really good, you can have them email you a JPEG copy of the photo for another $13. Yes.
There is not a person on earth that I would spend $400 to get a photo with.
No, I do enjoy taking pictures with people that I get autographs from. I think it's another part of my collection, right? I got a scrolling frame over here as me with all the people I've met over the years.
Eric, Trish Stratus is there. She hasn't sold out yet.
I wouldn't mind.
There's still a chance. And
listen, she's no Stacy Keibler, but I wouldn't mind saying hi to her.
All I'm saying is that the photo op and the autograph are less than $75. # bargain.
Comparable, yeah.
Yeah.
I will never pay, for to stand next to somebody and get a picture taken. Now, have I done it for my daughter when I brought her to Comic-Con? As a parent, sometimes you got to bite your lip and do things for your kids, right? So when she wanted to meet someone so bad and get their autograph and get their picture taken, I'm like, oh my God, this goes against everything I believe in. But if that's going to make my little girl happy, we'll wait in line. We're going to get the picture. Then we got to go wait in another line and get the auto. And then we got to go around and pay the $13 to get the professional picture downloaded to us. And we get an 8x10 now. Okay. Myself, I will never do that. I wouldn't do that for anybody. I wouldn't spend $400 to get my picture taken with Bobby Orr. No, not happening. There's nobody that I can imagine in this world that I'd pay money to stand next to and get my picture taken. That's disgusting. Now, if it was for charity and it was $25 and all that much, every cent was going to charity or something like that, right? You follow me? I would say, okay, I can overlook this. Fine. Other than that, there's nobody on this planet, alive or dead, that I would pay $400 and something to stand next to and get my picture taken with. It's insulting. It's gross.
Listen, I don't know what to tell you. Let's see here. Ham says Kevin Costner has to be pitching something. He's been out there more than normal. No idea. Billy Joe, and that's the end of the first period. 2-0 Florida man. All these people for photos are in crack. Yes. Florida teams equal really low ratings. They are low ratings. Wrinkle Wax says, who should be greater, the current LA riots or there's no riots in LA? Come on. And there was a real LA riot back in the day. They're insulted. They go in. And the correct answer, by the way, is the Vancouver riots. Whether Edmonton wins or loses, Vancouver will riot in solidarity. That's the correct answer. That's a real answer.
I don't know if there's ever been a riot in Edmonton. I don't even know.
They won a bunch of Stanley Cups in the 80s and the early 90s. They didn't riot shit.
I'm well aware of their last two. Thank you.
Yes, I just figured I'd mention it.
I know about the last two for sure. Thank you.
Just saying. No riots. Sorry. I would spend $400 for a photo of a few people. Jordan Woods, Eric's mom. Eric's mom won't take a photo with you for less than $500.
She's like that. She's super bougie.
She has a retainer. And if you want the JPEG, that's at least $50. Dan says that's a lot of non-sellouts. Dan always looking at the half empty. Dan, these are like $100, like at the minimum for most of these people. I'm sorry. If they're not selling out and they sell even a modest amount of them, they're doing fine. And for the ones they did sell out, they're friggin' John Cena's $400. Good Lord.
I understand to a point why autographs could be as expensive as they are. All right. There's a couple of different things. One, we know that a lot of people turn around, sell them, and make money, and the signers want their cut of that. And okay. There's also if we got the price up high enough, the signer doesn't have to sit there for 5 hours, because if it was $25, they'd be there all day signing, right?
Eric, before you go, I'm going to pause you for a second. I want to read a couple of comments. There's some good ones here. Zach says, what about Santa? Would you pay for a picture with Santa?
Not anymore.
No. You catch him on his way to his damn chair and you snap the picture yourself.
That's right.
Look at this guy. Tony says, athletes are more flawed than regular people. I'm with Eric on this one. No, I don't think athletes are more flawed than regular people. I just think you have a smaller sample size and they tend to be compressed with people that have one specific talent, and otherwise they're fucked up in the head. One specific talent.
And they've been told since they were teenagers that their shit doesn't stink. And some of them start to believe it.
And just imagine, and look at how Eric turned out, and we tell him he sucks every single day.
Yeah.
Think about it. And still, this is how it worked out. Sadler says, I would spend $400 to get a picture next to Eric with a spoonful of mayo in his mouth. There you go.
Oh, my God.
Fanatics Fest. Business opportunity. Free money. Would Eric spend $400 for a photo of Jeff Wilson? Add a 0 to that, Dan, and yes. Kathy said, Michael Hamm, I'd take a picture with you for free. Kathy, we're trying to make a buck here. We were good. Like, I had you negotiate it up to $500, man.
Mom,
help me, Kathy.
Encouraging Hamm.
Eric, this is a different angle on this. Kathy, we can make the monies.
Yeah, but not with Hamm.
You'll take his money. Shut up. The only way to get a guaranteed authentic auto in person is in person. Well, that is true. That's a different thing. Eric feeds on negative energy. Yeah, and he gets a lot of it. Now we're caught up on the comments. But yeah, so I would say, like, I'll be honest, I think they're going to do okay with these as a thing. Because, like I said, the WWE folks are like free money. They print money on this shit. I would actually love to know, though, legitimately. I know they don't have 1 or 2 slots for that. And especially for some of these characters on here that are like $100 or thereabouts. $100 for photo op, $100 for autograph. I know these WWE folks. There's a bunch of those folks that are paying for both. They're totally paying for both things. So that's $200. Every one photo, one autograph. $200. Like, hit the cash register. Cha-ching, 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 cha-ching.
And a lot of times doing this, for work, and there is, for an example, $100 for the auto, $100 for each additional thing you want them to write. So if it's MVP 1994, Hall of Fame 2006, another 99, and then you get the picture for another 99. And I have watched people just throw $100 bills down and just get a piece done. It's I sit there going, this is insane. And then of course they want a picture with the person holding the piece up. And I'm sitting there going, this doesn't make any sense to me.
So here's a question that I would have. Go ahead, Brandon.
Well, legit question here, because I don't know. I've never been interested in paying to take a picture with anybody.
Sure.
Say it's you, your spouse, and you got 2 kids. Do you pay for each person?
Sometimes it really has to do with
it's the promoter. The promoter is the one who makes the call.
One.
Yeah.
But sometimes, and I don't want to badmouth anybody, so I'm not going to say the person I'm thinking of. One very prominent person I've worked with, she would real cheap too. She wouldn't even hold out for a lot. First offer comes up, boom, I'm out. They would sit there and say to us how many pitches are on the ticket, because the kid's there and mom and dad is there, and the 3 of them want to get a picture taken with this person. And before he allowed it to happen, he'd look at me or one of the other guys working and be like, how many pitches are on the ticket? And that's like, wow. Freaking wow.
Hell no.
You are very prominent and are worth millions of dollars. You are not an old, athlete that only got paid, $200,000 for his entire 10-year career back in the in the 70s, and this is the only way you're making money. You are worth millions of dollars, and you're gonna do that and embarrass these people. And they go, oh no, we only paid for one. And instead of just saying, all right, Junior, you take a picture with this guy and mom and I will step out, he whipped out more money. And I was just like, holy Christ. Because we didn't care. Right? But the guy we had, he cared a lot. He was on top of everything that day. And that's just one example, the thing that he did. He was on top of everything.
Wrinkle Wax here says, but how much goes into the athlete's pocket versus promoter? Most of it goes to Eric's pocket.
No, most.
Jeff's card journey says $420 to have a Reggie Jackson or Dr. J rookie card signed, not including description. No thanks. Fair. I hear you.
Can we back up to that question?
That's not a question. That's a statement.
No, the one before that.
Yeah. How much goes into the athlete's pocket versus the promoter?
To be honest, a lot of it has to do with who you're bringing in.
Yeah, it's usually the contract.
If it is a superstar.
Yeah.
Most of the money's going to them.
Yeah.
Because there's only so much money, right? And they're a superstar.
Yeah, it's a contract. Like, look, just to make it short, it's a contract thing. If you have more leverage, you're going to be able to negotiate the number in whatever direction you want it to do. If you're somebody who's just like, when we go to the expo, there's a bunch of folks on there that are nice to haves. They're not going to get as good a deal.
No.
But if you're somebody at the top end and you can command like whatever, I don't have to do this show, you're going to be able to negotiate a very favorable rate in your favor.
They're getting $20,000+ to show up there. So they're getting the majority of it. And a lot of times in their contracts, and again, I'm not going to say who it is, but this person I was talking about a few minutes ago, they wanted a percentage. All right. And it was the majority.
Yeah. Of every autograph.
So the big guys, the superstars, are taking most of the money, and the promoters are getting what's left.
We're talking like Hal effing Gill level.
Right. If it is a lesser known like you played on you were the 4th line defenseman on a Stanley Cup team from the 70s,
or you were Boston Bruin. Ever.
You're getting a $2,000, check, and everything else is going to the promoter.
Yeah, and if you fall under that category, Brandon, if you were ever a Boston Bruin at any time ever, you get stale chicken tenders. That's your payment.
We have given those to people, yes.
Yeah, stale chicken tenders. Jeff's card journey says $420 to have the Reggie Jackson or Dr. J rookie signed, not including description. No thanks, which is fair.
I think Montana's $1,000.
It's expensive. Yeah.
A lot of people over the last handful of years have realized that signing their rookie cards are a big deal. Therefore, it's more. The last person I worked with that did that was Bernie Parent. And it was like $45. It was like $35 to sign a 8x10, but it was like $45 to sign a rookie card. And that's just the last guy that did that. But the big guys like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, to sign his rookie card, it is insane. Like his price already is crazy.
Well, if memory serves me, we talked about this with the Kareem one. It wasn't just the rookie card. It was the rookie card, and I think they had different levels depending on what the grade on the card could potentially have been. And they'd argue with you on it. If this is a nicer card that would get a higher grade, they would actually try to charge you more.
Yeah.
They were down to that little bit of minutia. Now we're arguing about grades on the damn card.
Like,
figure out how much you're going to pay.
Kareem, I love you. I respect everything you've done in your life on and off the court, but F you on this subject. That's insane.
Yeah. So Stu here is saying Montana's 2000 for anything with Tom Brady on it, a show a while back. It's because of Eric. But it was so I'll use an example here just from this show because I like how compartmentalized they have it on here. So if you check out the Fanatics Fest, so I'll use Bernie Williams. Bernie Williams, New York Yankee grade, obviously good for the local market. Multi-time World Series winner with that team, obviously associated to a lot of those World Championship teams. So this is not Jeter, but it's certainly not a scrub player. Like this is a good name for this market, especially if you're doing this in New York. The photo op is $162.75. So you got that on there. If you want to email you a JPEG copy, $13.56. Standard autograph. So there's a standard and premium. So you got two different levels. So your standard autograph matches that, $162.75. So for the standard, you can have a baseball, a flat like a photograph up to 11 by 14, and cards. So you can have a card. Now, if you want James Spence authentication included with that, that's another $16.28. And inscription is another $65.10 included in there. So you can start adding this up really fast.
Yep.
Now, if you go the premium autograph route, then you can have bats, jerseys, equipment, larger flat items, and photos. James Spence again is $60. So this is $233.28 for the premium. And then you can still pay for the James Spence authentication, $16.28. Inscription is still $65.10, even on top of the premium. So if you take a photo op and a premium item with the inscription, you're already sitting at $600 with one photo with Bernie Williams.
It adds up.
God help you if you want additional prints, because that's an extra $16.28 for each additional print.
Yeah, I argue at work sometimes with how we're going to do something. And sometimes I get my way and sometimes I don't. I don't think we should charge for photo ops. I think that's ridiculous. When it comes to the inscriptions, I think if they're a Hall of Famer, that should just come with it. Now, if you want, them to write 25 different things, okay, you're slowing down the line. You're probably bothering the signer. That I don't have a problem with charging you another $25 because he's writing you a book. All right. But if you're a Hall of Famer, your name, HOF, whatever, that we shouldn't charge extra for that. I hate that. The reason people are coming in to see you is because you are a Hall of Famer. And they're probably paying a good price to get that autograph. The HOF should not be extra. So I have fought for all these things because I don't like, as a customer, I don't like being nickeled and dimed like that. And as somebody on the other side of the counter, I don't like nickeling and diming the customers. So sometimes I get my way, sometimes I don't. And it really depends on if the athlete or celebrity is very involved, like that example I gave a few minutes ago, then they determine all that stuff and they tell us, and we have no say in it.
Well, Eric, look, Zach was right. You should be willing to name names. So you're saying they rhyme with Dre Rourke, is what you're saying. And they wanted to eat brains. And they charged extra if you didn't offer brains, is what you're saying.
It's not Ray.
Oh, did I say Ray? Brandon, did I say Ray? I said Dre.
You said Dre. I mean,
I said Dre.
Dre.
What Eric is implying something else. I don't even know what Eric is implying right now.
I'm not going to go down the whole list and keep saying no, but I'll do that one. No, it's not Ray Moore.
Tony here says, yeah, people turn around and profits on a why they share. So I actually think this is part of the equation here.
Yeah.
And because one of the things that was always very interesting, this happened for years, and Bobby can attest to this on a Friday. We can talk about it. A lot of the hockey players, obviously Expo hockey centric is going to be a lot of the hockey signers make a lot of sense. Again, our market. So the Bernie Williams thing only makes sense in New York. You try to sell this outside of New York, they'll laugh you out of the building. But in New York, maybe you can convince some, oh man, I was with that team all through the 90s. I love those guys. Okay, you might be able to squeeze those folks and get money out.
And not to interrupt, I'm sorry again. If I have a piece with the entire World Series team on it, I need him. And I'm willing to pay anything. And the promoters and the athletes know that.
Yeah. So that's a specific area that makes sense. But one example that I'll give real quick.
Go ahead.
So an example I'll give on this is that when Gordie Howe would sign at the Expo, he would sign for many years. He signed for a fairly reasonable rate, all things considered. But you could go to suddenly a card show in Detroit and you would see the price would be higher and in American dollars. And in Canada, you'd be able to get him cheaper in Canadian dollars. And it was just because he was willing to do it and he was okay with it. And he would do inscriptions and he'd be very cooperative for many years. Eventually, they started adding a couple of, but it was still very cheap, all things considered. When you compare literally, you cross that bridge from Windsor into Detroit and suddenly the price would more than double. And it was just because based on the markets.
Yeah, and it was when he came to this area the last time he came to this area and he came to the Shriners and signed at Shriners, it was $200 for basic Gordie Howe on a standard item.
Yeah.
If you wanted more, it cost you more. If you wanted it on a nicer item, that cost you more. 8x10 hockey puck, $200, Gordie Howe.
But for years he was available relatively inexpensively, and it was good to go from that. But the key was that obviously those players were a lot more cooperative. They knew the market they'd be able to get way more autographs done that way if they wanted to. The players had it was flexible. You'd have to sit there all day signing if you didn't want to. But obviously over the years it's crept up because now the players are able to go, okay, you're charging X, I want to cut. Because if the promoters kept trying to squeeze a little bit, if the players are signing the contract, and some of these players started to get wise that, I'm getting like $20 an autograph, or is what it works out to, or whatever it was, and the promoters charging $200, they're like, they'll be like, interesting. So eventually, it started getting incorporated, and if you have leverage, then you can push back and be like, all right. So then that's when the prices start to creep up accordingly for everybody else. Supposedly one guy cracked 5. This is speaking to the Kareem thing. And his reps were trying to say it was a 7 to 8. Because, here's the picture. The reps still said, nope, 7 to 8. Yeah, I remember that conversation. They could buy the photo and Photoshop the picture onto that photo. See, I like where you're going with this, Duke.
Yeah.
That's how you do it.
Well, with today's technology, why not? Screw that.
Do it with AI. Zach says, imagine that phone call. No brains, no deal. Sorry, Eric. Facts.
It wasn't Ray.
That damn Dre. Can't trust that guy. Jeff says, Reggie Jackson did a signing here last weekend, 180 for a ball and flat 500 for a rookie card.
Again, the rookie cards, man. I mean,
Ovi Great says, never had issues with Expo signers allowing table photos and no upcharge on rookies. A lot of them, well, here's the thing, a lot of them will do it. Like for many years, a lot of them would do it. No, because as long as you're not being a jackass and taking 45 minutes to set up the perfect selfie shot, like if you just want to take a quick photo and you're not holding everybody else up, they'd be like, yeah, take a quick photo. Here you go. Go ahead. Done. But it became more of a thing down the road. Didn't have signed anything Mr. Hockey 9. A lot of times he'd sign a Mr. Hockey most of the time. I've got a bobblehead there that, like I said, I've given the story. It was 75 Canadian. It included the bobblehead. The price of the actual physical item was included in there. That was buying the bobblehead that had the autograph on it. It was $75.
The Mr. Hockey or Hall of Fames, I think, were extra, but he would do Gordie Howe 9 automatically. Like that was the basic Gordie Howe 9. But if depending on the
2 to 1. 2 to 1.
Oh, here they come. Depending on the show that he was at and the agreements that he had and what mood he was in also.
Yep.
But mostly it was Gordie Howe number 9, and then the other stuff you had to pay for.
Yeah,
because he's another one to write a book. He could have wrote his point totals, his goal totals. The years that he played. I mean, he could have written a book. So he had to kind of squash that because people would take advantage.
Yeah, and that tends to be the way a lot of it happened. Go ahead, Brandon.
To the point of the folks talking about like the comment back up and then Zach's comment here.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
About the athletes charging because people are going to profit. My question is, we all see and we question it all the time. In-person autos don't sell near for the price that Pack Pulled does.
Nope.
Right.
Most cases, the autos aren't even going to sell. And I know for a fact because at Chantilly, Emmett Smith he's there quite often. My wife's a big Emmett Smith fan. I bought an Emmett Smith auto, already slabbed, authenticated, everything, out of a guy's case for about $100 cheaper than Emmett was charging to sign just on the other side of the wall. So I don't think it's necessarily the fact of people profiting. I also think the rookie card thing isn't because of a profit issue, but sometimes they're told to charge more because the more they sign the rookie card, the more it would devalue it. So if there's less out there, it keeps the value on that sustained a little bit. The other fact of this is, who in the hell is profiting off of taking a picture with somebody? That price alone, $400 to take a photo with them?
You
Who
can't
wants
sell
a picture of me with another dude or Eric or anybody else? Nobody. That has nothing to do with profit. Nothing.
There's one thing that you could that I've heard the argument, okay, and I think it's bullshit. But here's the argument: I take a picture with you holding the item they just signed,
and it's authenticity.
Now, when I go to post it on eBay to sell it, that's the authenticity. Here's Kareem. Here's the 8x10. Here's me. Proof that he did it. Here's the piece. $1,000.
I don't know about other shows, but Chantilly, the photo ops are first. So the item's not signed.
Right.
And you can literally have somebody off in the distance, even zoom in and take
3 to 1 Florida man
signing it. So I mean, like that's kind of irrelevant as well, because it's not about them holding the item necessarily, but if you
it is now. To your point, Brandon, it is now. But back then, it was folks that would take pictures while the signing was happening. So you'd have them in the photo while the item's being signed. But if it's a generic enough item, you could then have other items that look similar to that item that's being signed and then kind of connect the two. And some people would play games. But you're right. If it's a photo op, then the item's not in the shot. It's not the same thing.
Well, the other question off of this, if it's them thinking that someone's profiting off this signature, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are they charging the manufacturers? What are they charging after they do these autograph sessions and they go behind the curtain and there's 500 helmets and 1,000 jerseys that we see the videos of the chicken scratch going on? We see these videos all the time of it. Are they charging the same price to these companies?
Now, so Brandon, now you're bringing up an interesting point, because now that we've gone, I wasn't planning to go down this path, but now that we have, there is a timely, pertinent conversation, which is worthy of being had. Are you familiar with the thing with Topps and Lionel Messi?
Yeah, the fake autos. They're saying
correct.
That they're fake. Yeah.
So speaking of what you're talking about, that reopens the conversation about the whole, again, and just to lead with this, I'm an autograph card collector. A lot of the cards that I have, like even with the Medano collection and a lot of the player collections I have, I like to have a lot of autograph items. That's a thing I'm a fan of. That's a thing I enjoy collecting. That's a thing I like doing. But I've gotten so many, and this, I did the number the other day. I think it's like 350, 360 different Medano certified autographs. I got one that's behind me. Usually I can point to it. Obviously there's different camera angles, so it messes up the whole thing. But the point is, if you watch the live, that right behind my head is, a larger 60 by 20 of Medano from Detroit autograph. But I've got so many copies of his damn autograph that at this point I could almost be a subject matter expert on his damn auto because I've seen so many versions of it. Within reason, I'm very comfortable with the autographs I have. That's not the point, though. The point is, with so many different types of autos out there, and so many autographs that are a representative, and the word representative has become so loose that the representative it's literally not you, the manufacturer. If you, the manufacturer, sent somebody there to witness the signing, that's one conversation. But that's not what we're talking about. With a lot of these, they're doing it through the agent or a family member or somebody. Somebody is basically writing an affidavit saying, yep, I witnessed the signing. And then you're looking at the autographs and you're like, this is bullshit. You're full of crap. What are you talking about? Who actually signed this? And we got questions. So that's kind of the problem is, at a certain point, initially it became a way of trying to get the autographs back faster, but then it just became lazy. So to your point, I don't care if they're charging them less, because here's the thing. If I'm not even the one signing it, then I don't really care. Sure, I'll charge you less because you're not seeing me sign shit. I got a guy who's doing it. So yeah, I'll give you a good price. Don't worry. How many you want? 10,000? Sure. Whatever. You want to sign stickers? Yeah, whatever.
I'm talking even just like, so, and I'm familiar, my backyard Chantilly, they have an area that's curtained off and you can literally
where somebody will sign a bunch of stuff. Yeah.
And so they go from signing at the table, and then they go back there, and you can peek through and see them signing or whatever. So it's not someone else doing it, but I get your point.
I understand. But you asked the question, though, about the manufacturer. Because the way the manufacturers have done it now, they've removed themselves in a lot of ways from if you're at Chantilly and I can physically see you signing the items, it is easier for me to then say, yes, I know so-and-so signed these items because we've at least got a little bit. And then when the James Spences and all that is there physically on site and is able to put a sticker on it right away, you at least have someone who was able to witness it and immediately apply the sticker. You're literally right there, one-stop shopping.
Oh, they don't normally have anyone. Well, Beckett is set up like outside if you want to take it to them and pay them to do it. Yeah. But it's not. So
yeah,
they usually have a promotion too, an at show discount for the people that are at the show. A lot of times these authentications
are we doing it all ass backwards then? Because why are the pack pulled autos where the money is and the in-person stuff, if it's more legitimatized, if that's a word?
Legitimized? Yes. Okay. Go on. Did you want me to send you one of these, or are you good?
I'm good. If we feel more confident in that,
4-1 Florida man.
Yes.
Then why are the pack pulls so high? And I'm going to throw another one out there that we've talked about. I've shared on this. I don't remember if it was the podcast or Friday night one time.
Mm-hmm.
But the auto pin, that is horseshit too, because I bought those Jelly Roll CDs that he does this video advertising. Oh, buy my signed, CD, blah blah blah, and then everybody gets them and realizes, oh, they're auto pinned. The little video was just, him signing 10 of them or whatever real quick, and the rest of them were auto pinned. So I'm sure that's happening more in cards as well. There's been some, what was it, Dak Prescott's. I think there's a few more that were caught, but I wouldn't be shocked if that's not more common than we know about now too.
Sure. I think that's fair. So I'll pose this question though. Let me pose a shot. So let me read the comments and I'll pose a question to you. Jeff here says, is the Detroit Medano photo the only non-card auto you have? Absolutely not. I've joked with it. I've joked with it a bunch of times. I'll show it real quick. So we're literally just me grabbing underneath the desk. So that's from Pacific. Back in the day, Medano was the poster guy. So they had a poster basically, and I got that at Expo. One of the guys had that, and they said, "Hey, Carlos, would you be interested in this?" I literally have a roll over here with another poster. I've got an autographed puck over here. I've got
Don't
that.
you have a banner or something?
No, it's a poster. I don't think I have a banner. Now, look, we're at the point where I don't even remember the shit I have at this stage. So I've got a lot of signed crap. Is the point? Tons of autographed cards. The cards is the number that I've kept track of. But yeah, I've got a signed puck. I've got some other signed thing. But I've got signed jerseys, plural. I've got signed jerseys. I have one replica jersey in my collection left. That's why I was laughing when Medano was doing the signing in Bedham. See, Eric, did you go to Bedham or Dedham or whatever?
Dedham,
whatever.
All right.
Fake place, not real like wealth. Go on.
No, I couldn't. I couldn't handle the sun,
the pressure.
It's 40. It's like 45-minute drive, and I couldn't do it. I wanted to. I was looking forward to it. I was hoping that my eyes felt better. I just couldn't do it. Hurt too much.
So I'll say this, Jeff. The last piece. Like I said, as long as they don't, if Medano comes back to Expo, now if he does a signing in the morning, well then fuck them all. So what I'll do is I'll send a representative because I'm not dealing with it. However, the last piece that I have left that I need to sign is I have a replica of the 2000 All-Star Game jersey Medano that I actually had for many years back from the 2000 All-Star Game. That's where I got it. I got it at the Fan Fest there. I wore it for years, but now at this point I don't wear it anymore, but I still have it. That would be a piece. That's the last jersey that I have for Medano that I would want to have signed, because that would be one that would be like. But I've got a Dallas Star Medano. I've got a North Star Medano signed. Both of those are signed, and then I've got this All-Star piece, this 2000 All-Star Game replica. I would like to have the back of that signed, and that's the last item that I have from that. So that one, and maybe a stick. If I can ever get the Synergy stick with the Medano blade, because they sold that for years. If I could ever get my hands on that one, I would have the blade signed on that. And then that's like the last memorabilia piece, because after that, I already got enough shit. I don't need more.
I told you months ago that this was happening. You should have sent me the jersey, and I would have.
Yes, but this requires effort, and then with shipping, Eric, shipping. I could buy Medano for less than the price of shipping.
Yeah, you're probably right, but
yeah. So I'm just saying,
I would have got it done for you one way or another.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the next opportunity. I'm hoping there'll be another one closer where I can have it done in person, or maybe Menzie brings him back in for another signing down the road, and then I could set it up at one of those. That would be like the perfect. The idea would be if he brings it back to Expo, then I'll pony up for it one time and we'll be good. But yeah, just that's the last piece that I need. Otherwise I'm good. Like I don't need more. But I'll still get the cards. The main thing. So kind of Brandon's point. Bring it back to his question. Honestly, I only speak for myself. The cards are just more convenient to house. They're just so much more convenient in terms of a form factor. Like I said, I just showed you that poster. That poster's sitting beside my desk because, well, am I framing it, or like where the hell am I putting this shit? Like where's it supposed to go?
But that's what I'm talking about though. Why are in-person autographed cards? Like why can we get those for pennies compared to what a lot of the pack pulled, even sticker autoed stuff, or not from any event used game, whatever little piece of fabric in it with a signature on it, are way higher than many of the in-person autos.
I think people are comfortable. Like, I'm being serious. I think people are comfortable with the illusion. It still feels like you got a certification built in. Like, I've got a handful. I've been gifted a handful of Medano autographs on cards that have no certification whatsoever with them. They're literally cards that I have that are signed. Now, based on my knowledge of his autograph, again, having a lot of samples to look at, I think they're good. To be honest, I think the autograph's good. As far as I can tell, it seems.
Have you ever came across something that was slabbed, authenticated, that of Medano, someone you're very confident in, that you knew was not legitimate?
Only on days that end in Y.
Yeah. Here's my example. I really want this card because it's a red refractor.
Yeah.
But that is damn sure not his autograph.
Right.
And
for sure.
Actually sent it to his wife to show her, just to see if
is that card slabbed as a card, or is that card slabbed as an autograph authentication as well?
It's slabbed
Yeah, I
as
can't
the
read the label,
card.
so you have to help us. I can see authentic.
Oh, there
Okay,
you go.
now I see it.
PSA
PSA DNA.
DNA
Okay, I'm with you.
certified.
Yeah,
I'm with you. Yep, got it. Yep,
yeah. I want the card because it's the red refractor, but
right,
it's not his
right,
auto. And the
right.
person's trying to sell it as an autographed card, and I'm not paying the price for it like that. But
Yeah, yeah, no, for
Well,
sure.
it's ruined anyway if it's not his auto. Thing's
well,
trash.
I'll be honest, and people can frown upon this, but I've thought about if I could get
Removing
it
the
at a
auto,
price,
removing the auto.
yeah, taking like I think rubbing
Well,
alcohol
and
should
look,
take it
look. Here's
off.
the thing. Some people may frown upon it, but ironically, I think, given that we're talking about removing a bad auto from a card that wasn't
Right.
autographed in the first place, like
Yeah, and
it's
I
like,
don't even want it autographed. It's the red, like he doesn't
yeah,
have the autos on the chromes that year, so
yeah,
I just wanted the card because I try to collect all of
If
his
you can
reds
get
and
it
stuff.
off, to perfection, and you can, and it works, then yeah, no problem. But
yeah.
there's, it, if you get it off and you can still see that there's like a faded
Yeah, I don't know
auto
how long
there,
it's been
or
on
you
there. Yeah,
just tell
Yeah.
something isn't right.
Yeah. I think
But
but it's
it's a
just from me
it's
anyway, so it's not
yeah,
like
it's whether you can
yeah,
tolerate it.
yeah, exactly. I agree with
Drive
that.
me nuts.
Paul here says there's no substitute for doing right. At some point, card companies got comfortable being more and more lazy. It's a sad trend, which is true. That kind of plays in the messy thing. It plays in the auto pen things. Look, the problem is unless you physically witness the athlete signing it. So maybe to circle back around and make this a theme. Unless you physically saw the athlete sign it yourself, you can never be 100% sure, regardless of what it says. And unless you were there and can attest to the chain of custody, you can never be 100. I was saying this with Lapper on the other watch along. Unless you were physically present from the chain of custody as the jersey got put into the card, you will never be 100% sure that the jersey's game used. Like you just
Mhm.
can't. There's no way.
Or even from
So
that player.
yeah, so maybe the best way to put it would be this way. A healthy skepticism is healthy. Like a healthy skepticism is okay. Like don't spend your for me, a lot of the autographs that I'll buy are so inexpensive now, relatively speaking. If I like the aesthetic, again, I also have a lot of familiarity with the autograph that I'm looking at. So generally speaking, I can look at it and go, yes, I'm comfortable that this card is appropriate. Like this is consistent with what I've seen because Medea's been signing a long time. He's got certain consistency with his autograph over time. And usually, as long as it's following that, you're usually okay.
What I used to like to do back when I was cool and could meet players and
Wow,
hang
back
out
when
and
it was
all that
cool.
kind of stuff, I would actually make my own like
Yeah.
photos or that sort of thing and have them sign that. And it actually had my old little logo down there, the double B, but I would just design something and have the players sign that. That way I knew I was the only one that had it, and it had a little bit of special nature. I got it, I made it, all of that. So
Makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's those are cool. We have people that come in, all the time that enjoy making their own cards and have to have the ability, whether as a hobby or through their jobs, and they got the tools needed, and people will come in with some of the coolest stuff, and
mhm.
and the players love it. And so a lot of times these guys will come in and have one made for themselves and one made for the players and give the players a gift.
Yeah, Wes he's been sharing a lot, and I know it's a popular thing in the hobby, the TTM stuff. And I commented on a couple of his returns the other day, and I was like, it's got to be pretty cool instead of having to only be able to select what the cards the manufacturers are putting into the product being signed. You can pick the card you want signed and send it to the player, and have them sign it. So,
Yeah. Well, it's not the like look, it's not as exciting. I've shown these before, but it's uh when I used to have one of my old color printers, and this is many years ago, I actually would have index cards and I would
hmm
just print a player on there and basically just have them sign it. and grab just the images. But again, since it's an index card, a lot of the players would be like, yeah, sure, I'll sign it, no problem. And I would literally send it through the mail. So these were a lot of the early 2000s Jays. You know, Carter was obviously a good one. Raul Mondesi was a player I enjoyed. I enjoyed watching these guys play. I got Jose Cruz Jr. and a bunch of, but I'd also get like a Lance Painter. There'd be some of these other players who'd just be like on the, but it was the team for that time. So it was
I had a piece, and I must have lost it when I moved back to Virginia from Indiana, and I wish I didn't, but because it was one of my favorite pieces. But I had a copy of Madden, and Ocho Cinco Chad Johnson, he used to like talk smack on Twitter and stuff all the time about how good he was at Madden and this and that. Then he transferred over to FIFA, but I had him sign my copy of Madden, and I had him inscribe it the best, just as like a little joke, because he would always, you know, tweet out that he was the best at Madden and everything, challenge everybody and stuff. So that was one of my favorite pieces I had, but I don't know what the heck I did with that. So.
Jeff here says, I think he's done Frozen Pond before. Speaking of Medano here, possibly we could do another signing with him. Yeah, for sure. And if they do, that's a possibility. Expose a possibility, or you know, if they make up a couple more cities in Massachusetts, I could probably get Eric to fly on his broom and get him signed for me.
And if he does a Toronto show while I'm there, I can get it done for you probably also.
Yeah. So there, I've got options. So it's one of those things. I expect at some point in the cycle he'll come back around. So there's a good chance I can get that done. That's why I say, like, for me, that's the last piece that I have particular interest in getting done, just because I have that jersey and like, hey, I still own the jersey. I wouldn't mind getting that one signed so that I've got it. Now, what's funny is literally those jerseys sit at the end of the closet in hangers. Like, I don't have, so for those ones, at some point, I've been very lazy about it, but at some point I may, since I've got my office here and I've got some space on the wall over here, I may just do something about getting a couple of those jersey frames. Because honestly, if I get that one done, I could have 3 distinct jersey frames right on the wall across on this side here. 3 could be fit here. And I'd have the Dallas, I'd have the Minnesota North Stars, and I'd have the All-Star. And that'd be a nice set of 3 of them, all autographed, nice autographed jerseys on there. It could be done. I think it'd be an interesting possibility. Be a nice decoration for me. Philly Joe says, silly question, just curious, is Medano aware of your fandom? I did one of the autograph signings. I think they did it in the afternoon, like normal people, not mornings like the peasants. I did one of the signings. I had one of the jerseys signed personally, but it's like, you know, aware of your fandom in the sense that I had a jersey signed.
No, he's not aware of Carlos.
Yeah,
he does not know Carlos exists.
Yeah, but that's the thing. None of these players know anybody exists. Like,
no,
it's a transaction. It's like you sign the thing. You might say hello and have a quick 5-second conversation. That's about it.
Michael Taylor is aware of my collection. In fact, his wife follows us on Instagram. She's in our Facebook group.
I understand. So, we based on our stories. Based on our stories, you've had a few more interactions than the standard.
Oh yeah.
And Eric is known, like, say for Marcel, he's known because of all the court proceedings and the restraining orders.
Oh, Marcel sees me and he that's heading in the opposite direction.
He knows, yeah. So like that's different, Brandon. That's different.
Yeah.
There's been enough exposure. Yes, there is knowledge, but for most people, it's like, yeah, you're gonna meet them in an autograph signing, have maybe a couple pleasantries, and they sign the thing, and that's about it. That's the end of that.
They have no idea. They've met thousands upon thousands of people over the years at these shows. No, they have no idea.
Yeah, correct. And by the way, kind of speaking into this, we've shared this story, but it's still kind of funny. For all my collecting, kind of going back to what Philly Joe was asking, for all my collecting, I don't really care to meet Medano. I don't care to have an extended conversation with Medano. I'm sure he has intricate thoughts on existentialism and philosophy. But look, what are we going to talk about? I am a fan of your work. Yes. I enjoy collecting the stuff. Yes. But what else would you like to talk about? Like, I'm being serious. Like, I'm not even joking. It's like, here's the thing. I don't want to hear your stories. I don't care. I'll be perfectly blunt. I don't care. I watched him play. I enjoyed his career. I enjoyed his game. I enjoyed as a member of my favorite team. But like, as a person, do you think I care about the man personally? I do not. I enjoy collecting the stuff because it's fun for me, and it's been a great challenge over many years. But it's like, no, I'm not going to have an extended conversation with the guy under any circumstances because honestly, nothing I've ever heard from him suggests to me he's got anything interesting to say. So I literally, and we talked about this, a friend of the show, Brad, actually arranged for the possibility of having a quick discussion prior to one of the signings at the expo. And all I had to do was show up in the morning, and I stayed in bed and slept in. And I told Brad, I was like, hey, Brad, if it's in the morning, I'm not doing it. And he thought I was joking. Nope. I stayed in bed because I felt like sleeping in. I'd rather sleep in than meet the guy that I've collected all the stuff for. Priorities.
I think it's also a thing they
Go
say,
ahead.
like,
Go ahead.
maybe it would be a disappointment if you put all this time and effort and everything in, and then you met him and he turned out to be a jackass. There is that possibility.
But though, considering it's me, I might actually respect it more. I might actually respect it.
Depends on which nature of jackass he is.
True. Yes, true. Fair. But no, like the point is, like, as an individual, as a person, like, I wasn't a fan of the person. I was a fan of the player. I was a fan of, like, so what does his personal, person is like, why? Like, I appreciate what he did as a player. And that's it. That's all. Beyond that, it's like, we're cool. We're good. The one brief interaction I had with him was fine. He was very polite. Like, no issue there. It was good.
Zach's comment right there is 100% true. I can't say all.
Yeah, that's
but
fine.
Many of the athletes, if you do meet them, you do get to interact with them. They are literally just like you and me. They just have a really kick-ass job and a much bigger bank account. Outside of that, they just want to be like we are. Like, they're normal people. And they appreciate it if you treat them that way.
You're 100% right. So very lucky for what I do for work and things over the years.
Eric, just before you go into it, I know you have a good story that we're going to get into. Just before you do, though, I'll read these comments just to get caught up. Give me 1 sec. And by the way, though, despite what Brandon said, if you ever meet Eric, don't make eye contact.
No, don't ever do that.
His agent is very clear on this matter. So Tony says, you guys think Fanatics Fest will replace the National one day? I do not. I'll explain why in a second. This year they have something called Fanatics Games, top prize being $2 million. Main reason I'm saying so is just that Fanatics, like I said, is designed to be a different kind of show. It's designed to be more of a fan fest that promotes a lot of Fanatics products and a lot of Fanatics properties. That's really what it's for. I'm sure they'll work on trying to expand the card show side of it a little bit, some exclusive drops and stuff. I have no doubt they'll try. But I honestly think if you're running shows out of things like the Javits Center, I think it's the Javits Center, it's way too expensive to be a national replacement. It's just too expensive to run a show out of that. But they're great facility. It's a great facility. If you're going to run it there, it's a great facility. And if you want the experiences and, connection with a lot of these celebrities and these different people in there, then yes. But will it replace the National? No. The National is still the National still needs to be more card show than fan fest, whereas the Fanatics Fest needs to be more fan fest than card show for them to accomplish what they're trying to accomplish. Two different things. Carlos, if you have any Rance Mullenix auto laying around, I will never question your fandom again. See, that would be solid. Rance Mullenix would be a solid choice. No, Lance Painter, Raul Mondesi, Jose Cruz Jr., and I think a few other ones. I think Homer Bush. I think I got a Homer Bush autograph in there. But no Rance Mullenix. I think he'd be a little bit closer before my time, right at the beginning of my fandom. Paul says only paid for one in-person auto, was to get a game-worn jersey signed. I was basically paying to see if he would smile and know it was his or not. It was worth the $80 price for a $5 auto. That's fair. If Fanatics becomes the new National, is Carlos allowed to go? For the Fanatics overloads, I would make exceptions. But nonetheless, I don't need to. I'm meeting Medano. Never meet your heroes. Finding out as human is such a letdown. That's what Brandon was talking about. Stuke says, I used to get signed in person. Spawn let me try on his World Series ring. Maris is quiet. Mike was a great conversation. Bud Grant was a joker. Willie Mays just smiled. Medano was good. Yeah, and everything I've heard about people that have discussed, like I said, he's a polite guy. Like at everything I've heard and seen, like he's very calm. He's been kind of in the spotlight since he was a teenager. Like, and he had a long NHL career. These guys a lot of them learn how to deal with folks and everything. They know how to behave themselves for the most part. Some of them are a little interesting. Bobby Hall was an interesting dude, because he did a signing with Canada Post back in the day, and I still have it. It's a little poster that they would have that was the lithograph that they put on the stamps, and it was blown up. It was a poster size, and you could get Bobby Hall, and that's before he started his health started failing him a little bit, and the autograph started fading. I still have one where the autograph is still very clean. Like this is still a very good auto on there, nice and bold and crisp. And he would chat with you for a couple minutes while he was doing his stuff, and yep. He was very gregarious, and he was very lively in terms of the
and
stuff he was doing.
Like he gargled rocks.
A lot. Yeah. But the thing is, and that was like basically a free signing. Like if you bought the lithograph, that he would sign the thing for you. And that was basically the deal. So you didn't have to really pay separately for it. So you could get a Bobby Hull autograph very cheap. All things considered, very cheap.
Shocker. I have one.
Look at this guy.
Is that his actual rookie?
Yeah, Eric, that's how I roll. No.
Yeah, that's a reprint.
I mean, it looks like it.
Oh, all right. No, I was gonna be like, holy.
It's kind of a nice copy, Eric. It's kind of a crisp copy, don't you think?
Listen,
I like.
I can't see that well. Things are not very bright here, including myself, and I just wanted to make sure, because if it was an autographed rookie card, I'm driving to Virginia and I'm driving home with it.
Assuming you can
find it. Even inscribed the Golden Jet.
Yeah. Stig says, nice. The only controversy I heard about my dad was the t-shirt deal at the last Minnesota North Star game. Yeah, I think for the most part, he's been pretty clean. All things considered. I'll be great here as a question. What's Bobbles' thoughts on all these YouTube reseller channels switching sports cards? All right, so you answer that, and I'll come right back. Go for it.
Well, Eric, do you want to go first about your story, and then I can answer this? Because
I'll get back to that. Go ahead.
All right. So I'm assuming that Ovi is talking about American Arbitrage Carey, because he's the main one that I'm aware of. I have met Carey, nice guy. The biggest problem I have is, I guess they're doing it in a different direction, and they really are like, they admit it but don't admit it, that cards and the bargain boxes and stuff allow them basically unlimited content. And those guys are using the cards for content creation. That's their gateway to content. And it's a lot easier. As far as the cards themselves, I don't think they're really influencing a lot. The ones that I know anyway. But the problem is I guess without even purposely doing it, a lot of people are following them and are blowing money without knowing what they're really even doing. And picking and punching. I've met Rod. I have not met Dave yet. He was down in Lynchburg this spring, but I didn't see him while I was down there. Dave, so they own a marketplace. I don't know if people are familiar with the website called District, but Dave, Kevin, Commonwealth Picker, Carrie, Rod, Tim, OBX, Eric, like there's a bunch of them together who own shared marketplaces. One of them they've started is called Dibbed It Sports or Dibbed It Cards.
Yeah, I've seen they do the podcast. I think 3 of them that are promoting.
Yeah,
them.
That's the No Banger. So I've met all 3 of them guys.
Yeah.
Tim actually lives in DC and goes to Chantilly all the time. So I've met Tim many times, both cards and reselling. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think they're going a different route. The breaks, they're not really selling. Well, from the ones I've seen, they're not really selling teams. They're selling packs. They're doing pack breaks. So I think that, if you look at breaking, selling it by the pack, at least someone's getting something. It's not like, spending $500 on a team and not hitting. You're at least getting what was in the pack. If you went to the store and bought the pack, it would be the same thing. They're all good guys. Like I said, I've met most all of them except for Dave. When I started reselling, I introduced myself several times to people, and I called myself the ass backwards American Arbitrage, because it was funny how Carrie went from the reselling side and then started doing the card side. And I kind of did the opposite. I was doing cards and got into reselling. And I actually reached out to him and was asking him what it was with the cards, why he was moving away and going into cards. And he basically said cards are unlimited. It's unlimited content. He can go dig through these boxes, pull out some cheap cards, make reels off of it. These guys make a ton of money off of TikTok. They make money on Facebook. They make money on Instagram. They're making money on YouTube. Their money is in content. So I can't blame them for doing that, because the way they are doing things, it is unlimited. So, and they're good at making the content. Like, I don't know how in the hell you make the TikToks and all that stuff and get the people that they get watching. But outside of that, I mean, like I said, I think they're doing things a different way than most people are. So
I think that makes sense.
I don't know how to make the TikToks either, nor do I have a TikTok app or account. Or
they make a lot of money on it.
So you're saying, Eric, that when we see Bougie Eric on TikTok and we see your various dances, you're saying that you're claiming that's AI. It's not you.
That is what I claim.
I see. I do not believe this claim, Brandon. I believe this man sits on a throne of lies.
Oh, I do, but not about that.
Okay, fine. By the way, funny, we had the discussion tonight. I had set a snipe earlier on a card of the Dentiste, and it was it's not an in-person auto, but it's there'll be different companies that will do signings with folks, but they'll do like a live stream where they'll have signings and whatever. One of the ones that is very much in the wrestling world that does a lot of it is is basically a company called let me see if I get the name of it. High Spots. They do a lot of different autograph signings with a ton of different wrestlers. So that's kind of the deal. And I've gotten autographs from them before because they're actually pretty good at what they do. And then obviously when they do it, they'll put it inside of a one touch with a little sticker on top. That's kind of their certification thing with it.
When I had the Robles done, that was actually because he had already moved up from Potomac.
Yep.
And so when I had this done, I actually sent it to Onyx because they had a contract with him. And so I sent it to them and they had him sign it and send it back.
Yeah. And that was kind of the thing, though, is that when it came into since I've seen enough of their signings to know that they're good, then I'm very comfortable with a lot of the stuff they do. But to your point, I was able to get that card for like $50 Canadian.
Yeah, I mean,
so like the certified auto version of it would cost more. So it was available relatively cheap. The autograph looked nice, and I was like, okay, that looks cool. I'll take that. Sure. Do I need it? No, but I like the card. It'll go in the collection. So I figured why not? And they did it with the first year of AEW. So I've got the autograph first base card, and then I've got the subset card also autographed now. So I got both.
Well, speaking of in-person autos, we are approaching 2 hours, and we haven't done the silly card of the week or thanked the gracious people that have the scrolling ticker at the bottom.
Well, I was so my thought was, so it's look, I'll be honest, I'm gonna do this twofold. So what I'm gonna do is I will do the AMG bit right now. And then I'm going to give myself one more opportunity because I was trying to pull I knew what card I had before and I was trying to find it. And literally I'm sitting there like, Eric's Witchcraft ruined my goddamn computer. And now this angers me.
Do you see how important these votes are, people? Carlos has been waiting because he lost his computer, which thus lost his silly card.
Because of Eric's goddamn witchcraft.
Not witch. Viking.
Such a witch. Unbelievable.
Viking.
I will, though. Let me do the AMG bit, and then I will give the results from last week's, though. I can do that. So AMG Collectibles, AMGcollectibles.ca, AMG Collectibles YouTube channel. Tomorrow, we're doing this live, obviously, but tomorrow I will record the AMG podcast, and it will drop on Wednesday. Collector Scallops, Collector People, Steve should be back. So it'll be myself and Blair and Steve. And I believe, I'm like 90% sure, I will confirm, I think UD Ice is the next series that's coming out. I believe that is the next one that we're scheduled for. And if that's the case, then we'll do a rundown on that. But right now, we've been on a streak of a lot of stuff. We've been on a streak of a lot of products. We had the cup. By the way, also, if you do check out the AMG website, links in the description. Brad and Sherry opened up 2 tins of the cup to go along with a case of Upper Deck Ultimate. How did it turn out? Like the Boston Bruins record-breaking win season. Google that shit. I'm just saying. I've seen better. But nonetheless, you can live vicariously through it and it didn't cost you a dime. Some people got a chance to watch it, so listen, you get to watch it for free. I archive their break from the Instagram, and you get to see it. If you want to see it on YouTube, it is available there for you, so you can check it out. That is a bonus video. So when I can, so going back to our discussion from earlier tonight, Brandon, sometimes work smarter, not harder. I didn't have to make another piece of content. I was able to leverage the Instagram live they did, where they did the break. I took off the first part of it, and then it got to immediately starting the break. And the video is now on YouTube. You can watch it in its entirety, go through it quickly, scroll through and check it out, see what cards they pulled, and live vicariously through it for free. How good is that? Thank you to AMG for supporting the live stream, podcast, and the channel. And Bobby's right, AMG. Better than stumbling into Eric's OnlyFans. Also true.
Oh, you don't want to do that.
What he's done with chocolate sticks and Emmanuel in space would sicken a normal man. And a lot of abnormal ones, too. Just saying. So let's talk about last week's result on Silly Card of the Week. And if I can't find the stupid card, then I will abstain and I will lose this next week by default. So look, it is what it is. I'm going to have to do what I can. And I'm going to have to find a way to burn the witch. That's all I'm saying.
Not a witch.
Just saying. They had something right when they said Salem. Things happen over there.
I didn't go to Salem High. I went to Salem State College.
Whatever. Anyway, last week we got 45 votes.
Bougie.
Oh yes, he was too bougie for Salem. For Salem High.
I was at Beverly High.
45 votes, and out of those votes, 13% of the popular vote was free candy. Y'all should have loved the free candy a little more. 27% was whammy! Exclamation point. And the winner, with 60% of the popular vote, in the only legitimate democracy in this world, we count all the votes, was the Super Soaker card.
So I chose the right side.
Congratulations.
So it would appear. So it appears. Look at you. How do you feel, Brandon? Take a bow. Was it everything you hoped for and more?
Oh, yes. Yes. Hey, this is another thing. We've been consistent on this every week. Appreciate the people letting us know. But we take this shit seriously, people.
We do. Probably too seriously, but nonetheless, we do take it seriously. These are facts. Sounds good. So what I'll do is I'll pull up the images for it. So I will refrain on this one. We'll go into it here. OnlyFans card breaks. That's an untapped market. I'm sure somebody's thinking about doing that right now. They're working on it. I guarantee it. There's no way they're not
close.
Yeah, there's a couple of them that are like right on that borderline anyway. I guarantee one of them's doing it. Can the silly card be semi-serious? Sometimes. Like, the criteria of silly card just means whatever you define it to be silly card. We've gone in a lot of different directions on this. So the criteria is fairly open-ended. You can take the image. You can take some... Look, we've done the one where the holder is absurd, or something related to the holder is absurd. AI card. We had ray gun. Ray gun was one time. And
so
sometimes
long ago.
It was. Ago. It was quite a time. But
now she's banished. No more ray gun.
That's sad. That's very sad.
The whole sport got banished.
Should.
Well, listen, if we can't have ray gun, then I don't want any part of this. It's not worthy of our time. That's all I'm saying.
You got to make a joke out of an Olympic sport. If you got to make a joke out of an Olympic sport, then it doesn't deserve to be in the Olympics.
In fairness, I'd argue the Olympics were always a joke. But anyway. But that's just me. I've never been a big Olympics guy. All right. So here we go. So I'll tell you what. You guys will take it this time. I wasn't able to pull up the other thing. I was looking for it actually here and there as I was kind of working on it, but we'll figure it out. Okay. So let me share what we've got here. Again, I'm working with a new setup, so forgive me. It takes me a moment to get everything isn't exactly where I'm expecting it to be right now. But nonetheless, I can share my screen with this. All right. So Brandon, you are first. Explain.
Yeah, this, as it says on the Beckett label, is a 2007 Topps Hollywood Zombies Patrick Dempsey. As we were talking earlier, or actually it's Patrick Dempsey, but as we were talking about earlier, in-person autos, it's Patrick Dempsey auto. Beckett certified, authentic, graded a 10. Purchased it for my wife. She likes Grey's Anatomy, and this is kind of a satire Grey's Anatomy, and of course he played in it. However, what makes this even sillier is I got the card in the mail today for her, and this is what I got in the mail. After it taking the seller a week to ship it, I didn't even get the one that I purchased, but it'll do. But yeah.
His autograph sucks.
Yeah, it does.
That just sucks.
Oh, you don't like the line? With
He
the couple
used to
squiggles?
actually sign it like Patrick and then Dempsey,
That
but
sucks.
now it's just a scribble scrabble.
That's just horrible.
I agree. Esa Tikkanen is pretty horrible. But what else we got? What do we got here, Eric?
This is Esa Tikkanen doing his best Michael Jordan impersonation. I take a look at this, and you see that he's got his tongue out while he's trying to shoot the puck here. Now, of all the photos Upper Deck has of Esa Tikkanen, they had to take one with him sticking his tongue out. So I just thought this was kind of silly. I don't know if that was something Esa Tikkanen did on a regular basis like Jordan did. So maybe every picture of him has his tongue out. I'm not sure. But I think they did Esa dirty. I think they could have found a different photo of him that is sticking his tongue out like Michael Jordan.
I see. Well, there's a couple of options there. So I will include them. Those will be your options this week. I'll do a community post. I'll include it on there. Next week, I'll try to I'll figure out the whole computer thing and get it situated. Worst comes to worst, I'll have a backup copy included on the computer here. But considering I got everything up and running, all things considered, Brandon, considering I got all this shit up and running less than half an hour before the live stream, I think this has worked out pretty okay. I think we've managed okay here. Yeah, go for it, Paul. Sounds good. You let me know. Yeah, I'll take suggestions. We're always on the lookout for different stuff. Sometimes, but like I said, it can be semi-serious. It can be a serious card. It's like, it just has to have whatever you deem it, whatever you deem appropriate. You'll know it when you see it. If you feel an appropriate candidate, interesting image, something weird or whatever, go for it. That's how you find the silly card of the week. But yes, another solid one. So I think now, I caught the tail end, but I didn't catch if they had updated the score on there. So is it still is it 4-1 through 2 periods officially?
It's 4-1 in between the second and third period.
Yeah, I know right now we're in the intermission. Yeah, that part I saw. Yeah, perfect. Okay, cool. So far so good. I will say Florida Man has had a much easier time in this game. We're not looking in any danger of overtime. We'll see what happens in third, but right now, so far, Florida Man is controlling it pretty good. This is commonly referred to as the Michael Jordan of hockey. There you go. Maybe.
I don't think that's true.
Are you sure it's not true? You sure?
We tried to get him. We almost had him for the store to come in the same time and the same day as Yari Curry, and he became, as the day got closer, he became difficult.
So you're saying he took it personally?
And we ended up not having him at the, so it was just Yari Curry for the day. You're
gonna find out at some point. You're gonna be sitting there. You're gonna be watering your lawn, minding your business, and all of a sudden you get posterized, and it's Esa Tikkanen, and he'll be like, "Why did you do that, Esa?" I took it personally.
I don't know, but we thought we had him signed up and ready to come in the same day, and then some things changed and more money was wanted, and it was like, oh, okay. And then,
well, I think, Eric, I offer a theory. I would like to posit a theory on why this occurred. In addition to your witchdom, because you're a witch.
I'm not a witch.
I think he got a referral. I think he checked in with some of his people, because Esa Tikkanen has people. I think he checked in with his people, and his people sent him a piece of video that would discourage them from wanting to do that type of business.
Carlos, hey, it's the hardcore legend Mick Foley. I know I don't know you, but can I ask you a favor? Can you do something about this guy? Get him away from me. What a pain in the... Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Just do something. Thanks.
That would discourage me.
I don't think he saw that, though.
Are you sure?
I'm not sure.
Look, my YouTube analytics, Brandon, I don't know about you. My YouTube analytics, we can get pretty deep. We can dig down into the data a little bit. We can break it down by, locations. We can break it down by different times that people see things. We can see, views in this section, views in that section. And when I scroll down and I look through my filters and I see Essetikanen watch hours, my Essetikanen watch hours are off the charts over here. I think Essetikanen is a big fan of the show and probably saw that clip and is like, you know what? Fuck that guy.
He brought the hate.
Wow.
He also thought you were going to put him in a janitor's closet and all that, but you know.
We know how excited you get about janitors. To this very day, you still think some poor janitor was Peter Forsberg.
It was Peter Forsberg.
Look, you can't cast spells and assume everyone's Peter Forsberg. That's not how this works.
It's not my fault your feelings got hurt that I chose to hang out with him a little extra longer than come in and have dinner with you, okay?
You hung out with a rando with a mop.
I sent a representative in my steed.
Yes, someone superior. Look, Eric, you have a choice. If you want to hang out with your janitor with the mop, do that. But at least have the decency to not come back. Don't do it for me. Do it for your wife. Do it for your mother. Do it for Ham.
Shut up.
Brandon, you see? I took it right in the place that it needed to go. Everybody wins. Paul says, I think you found out some guy named Eric Way was going to be there and asked for 2 times the money. Facts. Facts.
That's possible.
Now, question. So let me get like mini predictions here. In-game predictions. So, 3-goal lead. Unofficially the worst lead in hockey. It is dangerous. And Edmonton has got plenty of firepower. So, they can make this up. So 20 minutes. How are we feeling? You feeling like Edmonton can make this interesting down the stretch? What are we thinking?
I would like to believe that that's a safe bet that Florida will be okay. But this is the same Florida team that was 17 seconds left, got scored on and had to go into double overtime. So hopefully right now Paul Maurice is in there screaming his brains out that we cannot let up, or else, the same type of thing is going to happen. You have 2 of the best offensive players in the last decade, playing in Edmonton on Edmonton right now. This game is not over.
Yeah, well, I think the reality is that Florida is a very veteran-heavy team. They've got tons of experience. They've literally been in the Stanley Cup Finals 2 consecutive years prior to this. So if they just keep playing the way they're playing, they'll be fine. Like, honestly, right after 2 periods, they've been playing very well. So really, they don't have to change anything. They just have to not take their foot off the pedal.
And that's what I'm hoping that, Paul Maurice is in there screaming. That's the message. Because a stupid penalty, you end up in the box. That's what happened in game 1. If you remember, it was a defensive zone infraction where one of the Panthers fired the puck over the glass in the defensive zone. Edmonton ended up on the power play and scored the game winner. So you can't have stupid penalties and put Edmonton on the power play. They are too damn good. They will beat you.
Well, let's not forget, Dallas may have only beat Edmonton in 1 game, but that 1 game was one hell of a third period comeback. So, Edmonton may be strong, but they are also vulnerable.
Yeah. Well, I don't think any of these teams are without flaw, but I do think these 2 teams are very strong teams to get into the final. That's kind of the way this year has worked out, but we'll see. Like, obviously things are still open. And like we said on the Friday, Bobby opened the door. And like I said, Brandon, I'm going to have to think about this. I want to sit back and think about it, because the more I was thinking about it since Friday, I for next year's playoffs, I want to do a little trophy. I think it'd be kind of fun to have a little something, make it a little more interesting for us. So we'll see what's going to happen. It says, did Eric get the Medano auto this week? No, he was down. He was a vampire and a witch. Yeah, and he's like, sunlight.
I was definitely a vampire. Dan, I wanted to. I was really hoping to. I had, you know, I figured out what I was going to have done. And I just, it's a 45-minute drive each way, and my eyes were burning, and there's no way I could make the drive. So I had to skip it.
So Eric, Big Scott did ask a valid question.
Okay.
He inquired on how long you thought the eye thing was going to go on. My theory is that you're going to be like Cowboy Bob Orton, and several years from now, you may still have the same affliction. Like Cowboy Bob Orton had that cast on his arm a long time.
Yeah, many years.
Many years. So this could pretty much go on forever.
Yeah, it very well. Of course, they tell you, it's going to be 3 days to a week, and then you're going to be fine. And I'm coming this Friday. It's going to be 4 weeks.
Well, I mean, they were giving you acid to put in your eyes to fix it.
Yeah, plus the acid that I was putting in my eyes to make it worse. So,
and what I think is funniest about it all,
funniest. Thanks.
Yeah. I mean, as friends, the funniest part.
Okay. I like that you had the qualifier well after the fact.
The man that loves to scream lawyer.
Yeah.
Legitimately has a case that could be brought about. The man who claimed it hurt so bad that if he thought mayonnaise would fix it, he would have rubbed himself in mayonnaise.
True.
Well, my eyes in mayonnaise, yeah.
No. I think, Eric, if the pain is as you describe, I think you would have immersed yourself in it.
Yeah.
You would have become the mayonnaise.
I can't even deny that. If they told me jumping into a mayonnaise pool would make that pain go away from when they cut my eye, yeah, I would have done it. I would have been doing backstrokes in it. The pain was, oh my God.
But he's not followed his own advice.
Yeah, something to look forward to, y'all. Now you know. Bobby says if there was a trophy, I would have picked Florida. Yep, I get it. Secure the victory, man. Sorry to hear that, Dan says. There you go. Dan's at least feeling sympathetic for you. By the way, I wanted to mention this because it had been a while since I brought this up. So this would be worthwhile. Obviously, Brandon, you evoked that obviously we've been doing the podcast for a while and everything, but I did want to note, because we're getting close to it. It'll be a while before I bring it up again, but I did want to mention it. Obviously, this is a live stream, and the Friday is the flagship of the channel and everything. But I have said the longest running episodic, the whole joke is that there is at least a live stream every single week, going back all the way to October of 2020. So, Eric, you'll be pleased to know I've brought the numbers, the numbers here on the internets.
Okay, on the internet.
As it stands tonight, as we speak, the streak goes into 1,694 days, nearly 1,700 days since the first live stream and the streak started. That is 242 consecutive weeks without interruption. As we go, see, unlike the National where it's a leaky rowboat, unlike the leaky rowboat to the National, we continue down the super highway to 250 consecutive weeks.
Oh, God.
The march goes on.
Does it stop when we hit that number?
No.
Oh, come on.
Do you know what that made me think about when you said that?
Oh,
that's a lot of weeks.
Well, the consecutive days.
Yeah, the nearly 1,700 days, yes.
Think about that with Cal Ripken and that damn streak he had.
Yeah.
Because what was it, 1642?
No, it was over 2,000. It was like 2,600 when he finally finished.
No, I meant the record.
The record was over 2,600 games.
I thought it was 16.
Because Lou Gehrig was like 2,100. Yeah, Lou Gehrig was 2,100 and change, and then Ripken went another 500 games beyond.
He wasn't playing football; it was freaking baseball.
What the hell was it that was
It
1600
was
and something?
impressive. He's a Hall of Famer, right? He was very good at his job. Okay, but he wasn't playing, NFL football. He was playing baseball.
Well, Eric, look, if it helps you at all, the important thing, forget about that. That's not important. Do you know what is important? Do you know what's more important than that?
The record was 2130. Yeah.
That was the original
record.
What the
hell am I thinking that was 1641?
I have no idea. The important thing, though, do you know what will make you feel better, Eric? The important thing, though, is that nearly 1,700 days means that this has continued longer than Hulk Hogan's longest title reign. His longest title reign was 1,474 days. We have easily surpassed that. And now we continue down the super highway. We're chasing down Bob Backlund. Bob Backlund is 2,135 days. But, Eric, even if we reach Bob Backlund, to reach the summit, to reach greatness, we still need another 700-ish days to get to Bruno Sammartino. 2,803 days.
Oh, yeah.
So we're just warming up. We're just getting going. It has only begun.
And just as a side note, and I, maybe this would be the thing that will get a response video again. I honestly think Phil Kessel's game played streak is way more impressive than Cal Ripken's. Baseball is not a contact sport. Yes, there's more games in a row. You got back-to-back days. You got double headers. It's freaking baseball. Now, you could definitely get hurt. You can get hit by a pitch. You could get the flu. Okay? I get it. He could have had tragedy in his family and had to take care of family business. And so, the guy was great. But
hold on.
Kessel's is way more impressive.
Eric, how many days straight have you made it to work?
Oh, I haven't been to work in a month.
That's the point. The record, outside of it being sports, there's people out there that don't even make that at a regular 9 to 5 sitting on their ass behind a computer desk.
Right. But that's why Kessel's is more impressive.
Eric hasn't even successfully gotten out of bed for 2,600 consecutive days.
A contact sport.
5-1 Florida man.
Very nice. I'm very happy. A contact sport and not missing a game in whatever number of years he did it is a lot more impressive to me than a non-contact sport playing X amount of years in a row.
Now, Eric, are we taking into account that Phil Kessel was on performance-enhancing hot dogs?
No, I didn't want to bring that up.
I think, look, Brandon, I would be remiss if I allowed people to overlook the fact that Phil Kessel may have been high on hot dogs for at least half that record.
He never, ever failed a hot dog test.
I don't think they did a good enough test.
That little bit that Skinner's being swapped out.
Yeah, at 5-1, you kind of have to. I think at this stage, look, you've given it. So here's the thing. In contrast to the whole Ottinger, controversy, he's in the third period. They've had 23 shots. The problem is he's given up 5 goals on 23 shots. That's not a great percentage.
Neither was 2 goals and 2 shots, but.
But here's the thing, Brendan. I've actually seen goalies give up 2 goals and 2 shots and then go on to have to get another 30 saves. So stuff happens. And by the way, Skinner's been flat out beat. Ottinger was left on an island for those shots. It wasn't good.
I, as a Stars fan, admittedly have been highly critical of Jake Ottinger, especially in the playoffs. But I even think that move was wrong. And then the statements beyond that were even worse. Because the way I looked at it, yes, he had allowed 2 goals, 2 shots. It started off, it was, okay, this is going to suck. But you're in an elimination game. He's gotten you to that point. They hadn't even gotten settled in yet. I think they should have just rode with him. You lost the damn game anyway. Just went with it and whatever. So I do think the move was wrong. I think the statements were wrong. I guess we'll see if we can make it to the final, the conference finals next year. So,
yeah.
Well, I just want the Bruins to get to the playoffs.
I think it's going to be interesting because, Pete DeBoer, the problem is the stuff that he threw out there, the stats that he threw out there. I got what he was saying, but the problem is you shouldn't say it. As a coach, that's not your place.
Well, and if you were that concerned with it and you were in an elimination game already, then why in the hell didn't you swap him out before it became the elimination game? If you thought that he had trouble against Edmonton, why did you still play him every game? Like, if you had that concern, it didn't make any sense. And why didn't you take him out in like game 4 and say, okay?
But let me pose a counter question though. Let me pose a counter question to you though. If the argument is that doesn't have this great record against Edmonton, which is true. So what are we to make of Pete DeBoer being in 6 out of 7 conference finals and losing all 6?
Right. Well, no, that's fair too. I mean,
like the coach has an even worse record, and he's done it with multiple teams that he can't get past this round. It doesn't matter who the goaltender is.
Yeah, I mean, again, I felt it was bad. I think if you had any concern with him versus Edmonton, and let's be fair. To be fair. Dallas should have been swept.
That's not bad.
Dallas should have been swept. If they didn't come out in that third period in game 1 and Skinner absolutely fall flat on his face, they wouldn't have even won game 1. So, if you're going to take him out after he gives up 2 goals early in the elimination game, then why didn't you think ahead of time? My thing was, maybe you just needed to take him out and say, look, you've started every game. We're going to get you reset a little bit, refocus, we'll get the team pumped up a little bit. Let's see if we can get back in there. Let DeSmith take 1 game, whatever, and then go back with him. Maybe that would have been better. But to pull him in the elimination game just because he gave up 2 damn goals and it just started, like, you knew it was going downhill from there.
I think once he got to the post-game presser, I think he knew he was done. I think he was just looking for the exit at that point. But the thing is, like, Pete DeBoer still has that same problem. He's been to 6 conference finals and lost all 6. Like, and
Which is crazy because the man's undefeated in game 7s.
Yeah, well, the problem is he can't get the game 7s in the conference finals. He needs to find a way to force the game 7, one way or the other.
Yeah, we lost in, I think it was 6 last year. So
yeah, so the reality is, obviously, look, overall the 2 best teams are playing right now. Other teams had chances to knock them off, but these are the 2 best that we got. But right now, what's interesting, honestly, what's my takeaway right now, the first 2 games both went to overtime. Like, they were very tight, obviously. This is the first one that's been a bit of in last year's series, there were a couple blowouts. But this is the first game in this game 3 is the first one in this series that's been a bit of a blowout. That kind of surprises me. It's surprising me that we started off tight, like actually overtime games, and then this one has been kind of like Florida's taking control. And they've been playing clean. They've been playing well. Hard to say otherwise. So maybe it's going to be a home series, maybe a home and home series, depending on who's at home has kind of the edge. Although Florida did win one in Edmonton, so
yeah, they have the advantage now.
Yeah, right now they're taking control of this one. Edmonton can reload. They're going to have time because now we're doing the Monday, and then I don't think the next game is until Thursday.
I don't know what the schedule is. I mean, it should be Wednesday. I would.
It's not 2 days. I think they had an extended break. Again, I'll find it. Bear with me a moment.
Crazy. That's crazy. I mean,
they don't come back until the 12th.
No, it should be. Listen, get tomorrow off. Play Wednesday. You're not traveling. You don't need 2 days to travel, get settled, and have a practice.
Hey, tell it to Gary Bettman, man. I'm not the one who made the schedule.
I mean, is it because they have? It must be because they're competing with.
Yeah, I think they're trying to like intersperse it with the NBA Finals.
Yeah, they can't have them on the same nights.
Yeah, they're trying to work out some kind of a scheduling thing. It's been weird, but it means that the Stanley Cup Final gets stretched a really long. Like imagine we're waiting until Thursday for Game 4. Like we're doing Game 3 right now, but we're waiting until Thursday to Game 4, and then it just keeps
Then
going
they would
from
have
there.
to travel back.
Jesus.
So like right now, so Game 4 will be the Thursday. Game 5 will be the Saturday. And then you go again. Game 6 isn't until the 17th. So that's where we're at right now.
Are they showing the Happy Gilmore 2 trailer?
Nope.
Oh, that's what I got. And it's like, I cannot wait.
You ready for really old Shooter McGavin?
I don't care, man. Happy Gilmore was awesome. We'll see what the second one does. Usually sequels don't match up, but we'll see how it goes. I'm excited.
Well, so Eric, if you're gonna watch it, then I need you to pay attention for the cameo because MJF of AEW is in the movie.
I wouldn't know him if he fell on me.
You will know him because he will be the only one who actually looks like an athlete.
Did you see the Dan Patrick interview with Derrick Henry? And Dan Patrick was wearing the Happy Gilmore 2 like track jacket or something. Okay. And Henry mentioned something about it and Dan was showing it to him and all that. And he was like, Derek was like, I'm a huge Adam Sandler fan and everything. Next time you talk to him, can you tell him I said hi?
Yeah.
And he's like, how about this? I'll do one better. I'll have him send you a video back, but I want to make a wager. If you get 2,000 yards next year or more, I'll have Adam put you in a movie with him. And Derek's like, it was cool to watch because going back to the whole the athletes are just, humans thing, he was like a little kid knowing that Dan Patrick was going to get Adam Sandler to send him a video and everything. So I'm really curious, can Derrick Henry get 2,000 yards next year so he can be in a movie with him?
Nice.
Yeah, they rank, these rankings come out all the time that really don't mean anything about like who are the most normal, down-to-earth, good guys in Hollywood. And the two that come up every single year are Keanu Reeves and Adam Sandler.
Well, Adam Sandler, because he basically dresses like a bum.
Yeah.
Even at this point, with all the money he's made, he looks like he literally is homeless, was rolled up in a carpet and thrown off a bridge.
Dude, he's just a blue collar New Hampshire kid. He just never changed.
I don't think he ever found the store with the nice clothes. It's not that he didn't change. It's like, whatever. I'm going into this one. Discount aisle. We're going here. Sounds good.
But that's what every single year when it comes out, it's always those two on the top, most down to earth, nice, normal, kind, considerate, blah, blah, blah. They're the two that get the most, most high marks. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. But
what I want here, Brandon, is to be like, yep, he's such a normal guy who also happens to be a serial killer.
That would be
plot twist.
You never know.
Proper plot twist.
The thing is Keanu Reeves is, and you can go on YouTube and watch the video, is very truly highly trained with weapons for, he's because of all the movies that he's done.
Well, he specifically has gone out of his way. He wanted to be authentic. So he's actually done training in order to try to make it as good as possible.
They show him on the YouTubes of, live fire training, and he's remarkable of how his accuracy, how he handles the weapon, how he, can, switch out the ammo and reload, and it freaking remarkable. That guy could kill you plus all the martial arts stuff that he does. Like he can afford to be nice because he's like literally someone who could kill you.
See,
Adam
Brandon,
Sandler, I don't think could do much.
Brandon, Eric is starting to sound like he's coming around. The problem is, like Eric, Keanu Reeves is only like the 457th most dangerous Canadian. Just saying. Anyway, Carlisle says, "Is this the Braves win postcast? Maybe." Paul says, "My hero." Adam Sandler came to my hometown of 10K for Rock Festival. We have stopped at a gas station, took pictures with some of my friends. Couldn't have been nicer. Nice.
He's made a bunch of movies in this area here on the North Shore, and the diner that is right down the street. If in that Halloween movie that he did, Herbie Halloween, or I don't know, something like that. They filmed that all in my area, and they took over the diner around the corner, and all the diner scenes, that because she worked in the diner, and he would come and visit and come and get his lunch and all that. It was just right over there. So it was, the whole place was a madhouse when they were filming, and he was actually on set.
Did he?
What's the girl's name? I can't forget it. That was in Modern Family and in Happy Gilmore and Happy Gilmore 2. And
oh, yeah, you mean the one who played the girlfriend first and then the wife in the new one, right?
Yeah,
I know who you're talking about, the blonde lady.
Yeah, from Modern Family. So she was here and working at the
fights for the people. The people are
I
fighting.
love the fights in the playoffs. Who's that? Oh my God! Who the hell is that Panther on top of that guy just throwing punches?
I think he's actually trying to hit the referee. I think that's what's happening.
Yes. He's not just fighting. He's
trying to hit 74. Brandon, the referee needs to fight back.
Like,
you know what?
He's legitimately mad.
Yeah. But you know what would be Brandon, you know what would be the greatest moment of hockey history? It'd be so awesome if one of these referees like went for a whole training camp in the off season, came back, it was like super jacked, and then one of these players threw a sucker punch, accidentally hit the referee, and the referee's like, ah, and just clocks him.
Slam him.
Just like slams it and throws him into the stands.
Do you remember Paul Stewart, the referee?
Vaguely, probably. I don't remember their names.
Paul Stewart was a tough guy for the Nordiques. And then after he retired, became an NHL official. And nobody screwed with Paul Stewart.
That's why I would pitch for some of these guys to do that. That'd be hilarious. Look, Eric, don't lie. It would be hilarious if a couple of these guys are fighting, the referee's telling them to break it up, and then they try to like push him off or like, basically like shove him with the glove or whatever, and then all of a sudden, and then the referee picks him up and like throws him in the boards.
Yeah, no, Paul Stewart.
Stop it.
Yeah.
I said stop it.
Yeah, those when Stewart would get in the middle and grab you and stuff, and they looked up and saw it was him, they were like, okay.
It's like, I told you boys to behave. Bob Burrell says, I love Little Nicky. That was solid. It was funny, actually. Little Nicky was at the time when, I don't know if you remember this one, Brandon. There was a period of time like you could watch, obviously, still early days for a lot of streaming and stuff, but you could get a lot of these movies on DivX. Do you remember like the DivX format? It was like it was like a movie compression basically that allowed you to because again, the internet download speed was not as fast as it is today.
Right.
So you wanted to have, but DivX would allow you to have the movie, but it was still in decent quality. You could actually watch the film. It was watchable. So it was, the DivX was the format, and that's all it was just, kind of before MP4s really took off. It was kind of a similar idea. So I was like, hey. But yeah, I remember Little Nicky was one of the movies that I got with DivX just because it was easier to download it quickly. And I remember there were various ways, allegedly, of downloading films.
There might have been.
Not that I would do that. I'm just saying allegedly. I heard rumors.
I actually have opposite of downloading and everything. I've came across a few, so I'll pick them up every now and then. I don't know what the hell I'm ever going to do with them, but the laser discs. Giant.
Oh yeah. I remember when those first came out, they were like, this is cool. And then quickly it went, those aren't cool.
I'm trying to find many.
No, you know what the problem was, Eric? The problem was, I actually think Laserdisc was really cool. I thought it was a great idea. The problem was that you'd have to flip it. And the problem is you couldn't get enough video. If you could have played it one side, like a DVD today, I actually think Laserdisc would have stuck. Laserdisc as it was still stuck around a long time because it became kind of this niche thing that certain specific collectors would get into. And I think out in Japan, it was still very popular for a very long time. So they actually were making
still today.
Yeah, they were making Laserdisc for a long time. But I think it would have actually, given how early Laserdisc technology was out there in the 70s, if they had been able to get it so that you could actually play it on the one side without having to do the rest of that stuff, and been able to get the price point down to like remember VHS started off very expensive too. So they'd been able to get the price down just a little bit more, and they'd been able to get it to play on one side. I actually think the VHS might never have taken off because Laserdisc would have been better, minus the recording. Because if you wanted to watch a movie, it was a better experience. You could scrub through and actually see the film, and there were certain things you could do with Laserdisc that you could not do with VHS. But with VHS you could record.
The storage was tougher though, because not so much. I mean, they were the size of an album, right?
Yeah, but the thing is, since it was the size of an album, you could literally put it on a shelf, like sideways, and literally just stack them. So, like, it's not like VHSs. VHSs were thicker. So in reality, you could put it like on a shelf, like an album. So you'd be able to do that. It'd be okay.
We didn't have laser disc and stuff, but I knew people that did, and they were pretty cool.
Yeah, I just think it was a really cool technology. Unfortunately, they weren't able to refine it fast enough. That was the problem. I don't think they needed to improve certain things to make it viable, and they weren't able to do it fast enough. Zach here says, why are they bringing up some fights and letting others fight? Eric personally texts in, break this one up, let them fight.
Looks like they got rid of former Bruin Trent Frederick. He just went down the tunnel.
I too like to collect Linux ISOs. For my jellyfin, of course. Of course. Gibby Halloween is a good movie, says Ovi Great. Nice.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good family movie, but yeah, it was shot all in my neighborhood and in Marblehead and some of the other North Shore towns around here. So yeah, it was a big deal when all that was going on.
I will say it's good to see in this game that Florida Man is coming out with the scrappiness that I was talking about earlier in the series. I was saying you got to start absolutely, fight or not, you've got to start punishing people. That's the play. Edmonton is too good. They've got too much talent. You've got to start hitting people, hammer them, hit them, fight them, do whatever you got to do to slow them down.
I just want to point out that, because I was kind of saying this earlier about Marchand, now that he's older, he wasn't involved in any of that. And you would think 5-1 game, him being a pest, the old days, he would have started that whole thing and got thrown out of the game. And then Edmonton would be on a 5-minute power play. Plus they'd lose Marchand for the rest of the game. And that's the type of mistakes he would make in the past. And then possibly Edmonton would come back, tie it, win it, whatever. All because, he'd lick someone's face or, slew foot him or haul off and just hit him with a stick. And he wasn't even involved in any of that now. So that's now the game's not over. There's still 8:37 left. He may murder someone.
Eric, so that we're clear on this, are you suggesting, Brandon, I think I hear what Eric's trying to say. Are you suggesting that Brad Marchand is being a man of peace?
He sounds like
I don't think I would ever suggest that.
I think you're suggesting man of peace. I'm hearing some serious man of peace.
He's not being a man of the rat.
Mm-hmm. Tony Tanti here says 20 nuggets and a medium drink from McDonald's, $18. And I had to wait 15 minutes in the drive-thru. Outrageous.
I wouldn't wait 15 minutes in a drive-thru. I'd just drive away. I'd say no.
$18 for 20 nuggets and a medium drink.
That seems excessive.
Yeah, no, forget no.
It's almost like a photo op.
And I assume, Tony, that you're based in the States. That's like $57,000 Canadian.
I would bet that with a name like Tony Tanti, he's from Vancouver. That'd be my guess.
That's still a ripoff, though. $18, like that's outrageous. It's not that expensive. It's a lot. Are you getting fries with that? Are you getting fries? There better be some goddamn fries involved in this. Because right now I'm seeing 20 nuggets and a medium drink. Where are the fries? And what size fries are we getting for this?
$18. McDonald's can bite my ass. I want to know where he's from. I'm betting Vancouver. A name like that, come on, he's got to be.
What, does he sound like a writer to you?
No, he was a player for Vancouver.
Oh, Toronto.
You didn't know? Oh, you didn't know that was a kind of a famous back in the 80s Vancouver Canuck player.
Eric, you're old. In the 80s, I was a child. And Brandon was in his early hundreds.
Okay, I thought you knew. I'm sorry.
No, I did not.
Okay,
I assumed the reference, but I didn't know it specifically. No.
Yes, he played. Tony Tanti was a kind of popular player for the Vancouver Canucks back in the 80s.
Is this with the V's, the V uniforms?
Yes.
Yeah, it would have been the V uniforms. Yeah.
Yes.
So, to Toronto, he says, no fries. Outrageous. Scandalous. No, this is scandalous.
Bite my ass. And they make you wait 15 minutes. No,
scandalous.
Bite my ass.
Scandalous.
You know what burns my ass? That story.
Zach says, I think it was Wendy's that announced prices fluctuate throughout the day. Oh my God. Could you imagine? Could you imagine, Brandon, if the prices on fast food were like a sliding scale? Sorry, you waited 10 extra minutes. Now it's $5 more.
Yeah, they have like a digital drive-through board that if the line's backed up, the prices all of a sudden change, like at the gas pump.
It's like that. So you want to talk about fighting in this hockey? That's when you initiate a fight. That's when you start a riot.
Oh yeah.
That's when you get the real riots. Paul says, Wendy's 20-piece saucy nuggets, $11, do better. Yeah, for 20 nuggets and thing is like, no, that's outrageous. For 20 nuggets and a drink, it's madness.
And can we just nuggets? Where did they come from? It's like compressed meat. I think it's not.
So Ovi Grade is addressing your question, but are they really chicken or chicken worn during no specific chicken event?
Chicken nuggets is the bologna of chicken. Okay, it's
Wow, Brandon, we're learning so much. Chicken nuggets is the bologna of chicken.
Yeah, you don't know what that stuff's all about. I know where chicken leg comes from. I know where chicken breast comes from. Okay, a chicken thigh. I know where that comes from. Where does a chicken nugget come from?
Oh, you're gonna find out if you read the back of the box. It says not from any specific meat, foodstuff, or vegetable.
Exactly. That's what I'm telling you.
That said, I do like the chicken nuggets, just not for $18.
Yeah, they can bite my ass.
So you're paying almost $1 a nugget, man. That's madness.
That's no. And they make you wait. I don't want to give up on them. They make you wait 15 minutes for them.
It is true. I feel like there should be, I think at that point we should demand discounts. Like, come on, man. Or you know what, Eric? If you're going to make me wait 50 minutes, I demand apple pie. I want an apple pie that's so hot that it burns to the core of the earth. Because they all do.
Nuggets probably weren't even hot.
Yeah, I was going to say. But at least the apple pie would be nuclear.
Oh, yeah. That stuff.
The apple pie would be a heat source.
If you took an apple pie, and now I don't know, I assume it's still just as bad as it was back when I was a kid, because that was the last time I had a McDonald's apple pie. If you took a McDonald's apple pie and threw it at someone, could you be charged with attempted murder with a deadly weapon?
So, Eric, the answer is no, because if you threw an apple pie at someone, they would burst into flames and die. So it would be attempted murder. It would be successful murder.
Yeah, I would. Okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
There are horror movies where the McDonald's apple pie is how you kill them. The reason Jason lives is because no one threw a McDonald's apple pie at him. If he did, he'd have lost. He'd have lost. Movie over. He loses so fast.
Yeah. First 5 minutes in. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Huh.
It's like, what happens? I ordered like 6 of them. Michael Myers is getting it too. And fuck Freddy Krueger. You're all getting it. Apple pie to the face.
Yeah. Like I said, I honestly have not had one since I was a kid, but those things were, you had to let those things cool off.
I'm not joking. They were nuclear. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
They were so hot. It was so hot. Obi Great says all that good stuff inside the chickie. And listen, it is what it is.
It's the bologna of chicken.
Tony here says dipped in spicy habanero sauce. Wow, he's really into it. All right, listen, as long as you're enjoying it. Look, you paid good money for it. I hope you're enjoying it. I hope you're enjoying it. So we got 5-16. We've been watching the game, but it just hasn't been a lot.
All fights. Here we go, boys.
Yeah. Right now, the most exciting part of this game, Brandon, has been the fights. It hasn't been a super competitive game.
Unfortunately, trying to watch on the phone, it's like a minute behind. So
Brandon, we got to get you set up. Listen, man. Like, do you want me to get you like a direct line hookup? Because listen, I get the hockey game on my toaster. It doesn't even have a screen, but I get it.
Oh my God!
The toaster just projects.
The computer over
coverage
here,
in
or I do have
Toronto
a
is
TV
awesome.
in here. I haven't put a cable box in here.
I got you. But no, that was the
when I was
joke.
redoing everything. I kind of.
I told that joke to Scott that is like, no, in Canada, it's like, no, I get the hockey game on my toaster. I get it like if I just randomly find a box somewhere, like I go grab an Amazon box, it's playing the hockey game, like it doesn't matter. Like it's everywhere.
That's my favorite part of going up there for a week is you just turn the television on and where we have Sports Center, they have TSN Sports Center, right? It's a little different. It's all hockey coverage.
Yeah.
Well, they analyze every single game, highlight after highlight.
Do you know what the comp I would use, Eric, is?
Awesome.
Do you know what the comp I would use is? Because when I went down years ago to do a Packers game against Detroit, again, when I visited the most depressing casino in the world, when I went down there for that game, that's what college football is. So like on Saturday, it's college football is wall to wall. We went down there early so that I could watch the college football games. And we were watching it like from the whole day into the late evening for the late game. Like some games out west were like playing super late, and we were just watching college. We were at the bar hanging out for hours, and then we went back to the hotel room and drank beers and watched the college games, and we were watching the whole day. And then on Sunday, we went out to do the tailgate and all that stuff for the football game we were there for. But that's basically the equivalent. So hockey here, though, can run like that. You can have as much coverage as you want.
You go out to dinner and they got TVs on at the restaurants and bars, and it's all hockey games. It's freaking awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
Because I hate baseball. We know that. So if I go to a restaurant around here, there's a freaking baseball game on. Doesn't matter if it's the Red Sox or not. There's a freaking baseball game. And it's like, hey, can you put the Bruins on? It's like I shouldn't even have to ask. But no, we have to watch the Royals versus the freaking Devil Rays.
Eric, they would like to watch an actual sport as opposed to a fictional scripted drama.
Not a sport. Baseball's not a sport. It's a game.
No, hockey's not a sport. It's a fictional drama. Anyway, Tony here says, one thing I love about this content, you guys can make a 20-minute conversation of anything. You're damn right we can.
I'll talk 20 more minutes about your
proven.
About the chicken nuggets. That's right.
Chicken nuggets, your name, where you're from. I'll keep going with that, man.
Bye. Zach says, hey, Bobby doesn't even watch the game during the watch along. That's my favorite part. Bobby will literally sit in the garage listening to us yabber on. He has no idea what's going on in the game.
Bobby doesn't get the assignment.
Yeah. Paul says, Gunther beats Suso clean for the strike. That is stupid, Paul. Now I'm gonna check out. I'm not gonna watch the replay because honestly I don't care. But I listen to some podcasters who do the recaps of the different WWE shows, and that is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. Basically, a world title changed hands on a regular Monday Night Raw because WWE has nothing better to do, and it's not even a world title anyone gives a shit about. That's how bad it is.
There's multiple world titles.
There've been multiple world titles for years. WWE is stupid.
That I thought there was just, like world heavyweight, intercontinental tag team.
Nope. There is the WWE Championship, the WWE Undisputed Championship, even though there's two world titles. And then there is the World Heavyweight Championship, which is the one that Paul was referring to. Those are both technically considered world titles. So
is that like the, back in the day, it was the WCW or one of the NWA or something they had the TV title?
No, what WWE did this years ago because they had such a bloated roster that they would have basically a Raw World Championship and a SmackDown World Championship. That's basically what they did because the two rosters for years, they actually had the roster split. So you would have people that were on Monday Night Raw. They wouldn't be on SmackDown. So as a result, they're literally on one show competing for a championship on this show. And then the other show would also have its world champion. And ne'er the two shall meet. That was the idea. And then eventually they started getting lazy about it, and then they would do their version of interleague play. But then they got lazy about that and just would randomly do it whenever they felt like it. Which means every year that went by, it meant less and less. But they still got this gigantically bloated roster. So having one world champion doesn't work either. Because
they should have had WWE on Monday Night Raw, WCW on Thursday Night SmackDown, and then the pay-per-view, they battle each other every pay-per-view. That's what they should have done.
If they had the vision to actually, the problem was Vince wanted so badly to beat WCW that even after he bought them, he still wanted to beat them, even though he owned them. 6-1 Florida man.
Nice.
Yeah, so the problem was Vince had bought WCW and he still didn't want WCW to ever win anything. And I'm like, you own it. It's still you. I mean, can't lose here.
You literally could have still had the Monday night
war. Just make it up for yourself. Do it internally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have Monday night, Thursday night, and then the pay-per-view once a month is they battle each other.
Eric, at the time, a lot of us were making the argument that like you literally own the entire thing. At least make it up. Pretend. But the guy's ego wouldn't allow it. He couldn't lose to a fictional opponent that he owned.
Yeah.
And he refused.
And you have, that's when you have Shane, or
that's what they tried to do. They literally tried that and then gave up on it immediately. He refused to do it.
What's the daughter's name?
Stephanie.
They somehow ended up with it on Thursday nights.
They did that. Eric, the thing is, they did that and gave up on it almost immediately.
Wow.
And I was like, well, this is the easiest storyline you are ever going to get landed in your lap, and you refuse to take it. Paul says they had Uso beat Gunther clean at WrestleMania via submission, only lose it back clean 2 months later. Yes, I agree, Paul. Edmonton bench is looking light. Yeah, I think this game might be over. Mayhaps 6-1. Yeah,
I'm pretty confident that even with.
Are you saying that a 5-goal lead may be safe?
With 3 minutes left, I don't think even McDavid can pull this out of his ass.
We'll see. If they get the NBA Jam, 3-point goal, we'll see.
And they're getting real chippy. Edmonton's more interested in sending a message for the next game right now than actually trying to do anything in this one. So this game's over.
Listen, with a 5-goal lead, Brandon, this is where the Panthers should be like the dirtiest of dirty. This is where Marchand should bring out the steel chair and whack McDavid with it.
You should go full Bobby Clark, right?
I'm just trying to figure out, because Eric's sitting here talking about how great McDavid is and that he can't pull it out of his ass, but what has he got? 6 goals in the playoffs? Yeah.
How many assists does he have?
Yeah, he's not going to score 6 goals in 3 minutes.
That's someone else scoring. That's somebody else scoring.
Yeah, he's not scoring 5 goals in 2 minutes and 56 seconds.
Oh, he's not even hardly scored 5 goals in the entire playoffs.
Not with that attitude, Brandon. Need some ECW action in this game about now, maybe. Tax, fire, and barbed wire. Yes. That's right, buddy. Should do it. Marchand, get the table.
Oh, man.
By the way, Eric, you'll appreciate this. WWE has become so penny pinching. They're literally trying to squeeze every dime out of everything. In the last pay-per-view, I didn't watch the pay-per-view, but I saw pictures of it. They were doing Money in the Bank and doing the ladder matches for Money in the Bank and all that. The Money in the Bank briefcase was sponsored by Cash App. It literally had the Cash App logo on the briefcase. They had tables. The tables had Slim Jim logos on them. They were the Slim Jim tables.
Wow.
I was like, wow, you are literally jamming every single ad you can
with real sports doing that. Why not have the fake sport do it too? I mean, it isn't like you're going to lose legitimacy or something with the Slim Jim table when you have, these guys skating around with stuff on their helmets and their jerseys tonight. It's like What are you gonna do? You gotta make fun. How are you gonna make fun of a fake sport when the real sport's doing the same damn thing? Plus,
Eric,
all the ads
Eric,
on
Eric,
boards and on the ice.
Eric, we're watching hockey. When do the real sports start?
You're being mean. Okay, and I don't like it.
Brandon, am I being mean? I feel I'm just speaking facts.
You're being mean, and I don't like it.
We'll see what happens when Marchand pulls out the steel chair. All right, we'll see. The sleek thing where they're trying to lowball Reigns is hilarious. A Mount Rushmore type guy. They're trying to lowball. You got WWE fans who want Vince back. Is that bad? Yeah. That's right. It'll be great. Here comes the money. That's right. All I'm saying is Marchand, get the table. Get the Slim Jim table. Snap it to Slim Jim.
When it comes to Vince, not only take away the fact that he's just a scumbag. Okay, let's just pretend he's the nicest guy in the world. If you haven't noticed, Vince is a lot older now. Maybe he shouldn't be there running the day-to-day.
No, Eric. I think, look, I agree with you. I think running the day-to-day WWE probably isn't the play. I personally think Vince McMahon should move to something better suited to his current skill set. I think Vince McMahon should be president.
Hey, his wife has been in the cabinet of the first and second Trump administration, so he's not far off.
No, listen, Vince is far better. I think he should be president. Then we get the steel chairs. Now we know 100% Vince McMahon is completely gone. Said he would never do sponsorships. Well, Vince did do sponsorships. Let's be fair, but it's over the top to the point that it's a joke. Literally, they'll slap a logo on anything at this point. It's hilarious. I'm waiting for the WWE guys literally go down there with logos tattooed on their bodies, basically.
But these guys are fighting and right at the Bet MGM, sign on the ice. So,
yeah, Paul says there's a decent percentage of WWE fans who want an 85-year-old, whatever outside things Vince has probably done. Hasn't been good since, I don't know, 2000. They want Vince back. That's how bad it is. Yeah, because the product's shitty. Listen, man, I predicted that before WrestleMania 40. How
old is he now for real?
He's really old.
Hey, Siri.
Mm-hmm.
How old is Vince McMahon?
79.
Vince McMahon is 79 years old.
I defeated you with the Google.
You did. So, yeah, he can't. His best days are behind him. So even if he was the greatest guy in the world, and he was wanted there every day, he's 79. What does he bring into the table?
Eric, that's not the point.
Liver pills?
That's not the point. The point is that the guy running it right now is actually somehow managed to be shittier. Everybody knows Vince is senile, but somehow the current regime is actually making a worse product, which says something because the other guy's senile.
Yeah, but just so I'm clear, isn't like a board of directors are running it, including The Rock as part ownership, and then you have the creative team with Triple H and
Triple H is the one who's doing a shitty job. Yes.
So I mean, you have these legends that know the business inside and out. We're at the top of the game for a while.
Producing a shitty product. Agreed.
What is stopping them from doing a better job, you think? Just
because Triple H has no idea what the fuck he's doing. He's an idiot.
So lack of skill, or they
Triple H literally has no idea what he's doing. He's a moron.
Is it a lack of talent? Is it a lack of support from the board of directors?
No, he can do whatever he wants. He's just stupid. Like, his storylines are stupid, his ideas are dumb, and he has no idea how to use the talent he has.
So why is the people who are really in charge allowing it to happen and not doing something different?
Because they have the Slim Jim table and they're making lots of money.
Then there you go.
Brandon, go for it. Take it off. We'll catch you later.
Oh, he's leaving?
Yeah, guys, I'm gonna head out. The morning comes early. The wife's ready for bed, so I'm already past my bedtime.
Go for it. We'll solve the problems with the WWE, but we'll catch you later. Appreciate you hanging out.
Y'all have a good night, everybody.
Zach says, people complain about a Larry O'Brien trophy not being on the court, so NBA put one on the court via CGI. It looked terrible. That wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, TKO doesn't understand how to separate WWE and UFC. Right now, they don't need to. They just need, as long as they're making enough money, they don't care. Won't be long for the Saudis buy the WWE. Well, Eric could also buy them, but the Saudis probably. TKO is somehow worse than Vince. Right now, they are, yeah. They repels you from the 20s. Thank you, Bobby. I'm so out of touch with WWE. The last WrestleMania I watched was 26 for reference. It's okay. You haven't missed much. It hasn't been going a long time. What's the origin story of throwing the rat on the ice? That was back in the original Panthers Stanley Cup Finals run in '96. I don't remember why, but it was part of the original Stanley Cup run.
So they're in the locker room, and a rat goes flying through the locker room. Some people started yelling and screaming and jumping up on the benches and hiding in their lockers. And I believe it was Scott Mellenby who took his hockey stick and just slap-shotted that thing and killed it. So that got out. And then, so you have that story that got out. And then they went on this run. And if you remember, either their first or second year, they ended up in the Stanley Cup Finals with John Van Briesbroek in net. And, they had this magic run of a brand new franchise, an expansion team doing this. And so with the excitement of an expansion team getting to the finals and in the playoffs and playing so well, and then this Mellenby story came out, somehow, I don't know, I don't think it was the organization at first. They're behind it now, but somebody found a place to buy these plastic rats and started chucking them onto the ice after wins. And then more and more people tried to hunt these things down and find them, and more started showing up. And then, of course, then the organization got behind it and started selling them and all that. So now it's a thing. So now not only are rats being thrown on the ice still after big wins, but the rat himself, Brad Marchand, is now there. So after every win, the players fire the rats at Brad Marchand before they leave the ice and go back to the locker room. So he has to stand there at the door, and a bunch of guys slap shot the rubber rats at him before they leave the ice. So there's a new twist to the ritual.
It is quite a special thing, but there you go. Great. Paul says, Tico has absolutely no fucking clue what they're doing. Triple H is kind of a clue, but the game is passing by. I even question the kind of a clue, but sure. They actually want Vince back because it might be better for the TV product. Right now, the TV product's atrocious.
No,
terrible.
You don't want Vince back. You don't.
I think you'd be shocked how bad it is at this point. Zach says, only 10 likes, 9 people watching. Time for Eric to start another war for views. It might be coming. Might be next. I'll give you one that you'll appreciate, Eric. So obviously over the last couple of years, and this goes back all the way to the Vince days as well, they'll do sporadic releases for budget cuts and basically to save money because everybody needs more money. Because they brag about revenues and they need to cut people. So anyway, they've done various cuts this year. And the most recent little mini controversy thing was that they cut R-Truth, who is one of the guys who's been there now 17 years as part of it.
What's his name?
R-Truth. So he's the one who went by Ron Killings back in the NWA days. But he's been actually with the company 17 years as an on-screen character. Well, I know, but you haven't paid attention to the show in like 40 years. So anyway, so he's been there for 17 years. And the thing is that he's predominantly a comedy character. Really, that's kind of the niche that they've got him in. He actually was an NWA world champion years ago before he got to WWE. And he was originally, and the thing is, he's 53 now, and he's actually still in tremendous shape, which is hilarious. And the thing is, he can actually go out and still wrestle actually effectively for what he needs to do. And he's a longtime veteran. He's been around a long time. But the thing is, they wanted to be predominantly a comedy guy, and he's very good at it. So he does, what they've asked him to do. So apparently they were, he was reaching the end of his contract and they were trying to lowball him and he didn't want to take it. And they kind of kept going back and forth. And finally they were like, all right, fine, we're not going to resign you. So after 17 years, he let everybody know that he was going to get, he's basically getting released. His contract was going to be allowed to expire and he was going to leave. And the problem is that he is extremely popular in the locker room. Because he's been there for almost 20 years.
Yeah.
All the current people, including the stars at the top of the food chain, have all used him as a mentor because he is extremely experienced. His role is a comedic role, but he's also a guy who's been a great wrestler for a long time. And to be a good comedic role, you also have to be good at your job. Regardless, you have to understand how to make this work and make it entertaining because that's your job. You have to make it entertaining. So it's actually harder in some ways to be a comedic character and be able to sustain over a long time. So a lot of them looked at him as a mentor and enjoyed him being there. And like the locker room and everybody else didn't appreciate that he wasn't just being let, his contract being allowed to release, but they had some lackey basically tell him they weren't going to release his contract. So even the higher ups and the people who have the say in this didn't have the balls to say it to his face. Basically, they hired like some, this junior guy over here. Yeah, I was just telling him his contract's going to run out. So it became this whole thing, a whole firestorm. And apparently it got to the point that Nick Khan, who's right up the food chain at TKO, finally had been trying to reach him and was finally able to get a hold of him. And they were able to negotiate and hammer out a deal at the 11th hour after this whole firestorm had kicked up. And he came back at Money in the Bank. So technically he returned, even though technically he never left because his contract hadn't fully expired. Yeah. And it was this whole thing. The point is, people, the audience is sitting there, oh, they were just, literally Triple H said, oh, that's all part of the show. It's like, so part of the show is that you're going to pretend that you, the company, are firing a guy who everybody likes so that they can be mad at you, even though he's going to interfere in a match with John Cena, unrelated to that. And at no point did you allude to John Cena getting him fired. No, it was you, the company, who got him fired. But then when he came back, you want to claim it was part of the show, even though you're actually firing people. So your best case scenario is it was you doing it as a storyline in bad taste that doesn't lead to anything, or you're just idiots and you're trying to lie to people to make it sound better.
Either way, you're not coming out good on this one.
Yeah. So literally Triple H stood there and you're like, oh, that's all part of the show. So your part of the show is that you want to make fun of people that are getting fired while you're actually firing people and look like a douchebag as a company. Again, it's not John Cena, the bad guy. If you had said John Cena walked into your office and demanded that R-Truth be fired, then it's a storyline. Then John Cena's the bad guy for causing this to occur. That never happened. Instead, he comes back, to interfere with John Cena's match, to kind of a continuation of what they had been doing at the tail end there. But at the same time, it's like, no, it's you, the company, TKO, who are the assholes. And we're looking at you going like, do you guys even know what you're doing? And in the end, you brought him back. So now what are you going to do with him? Okay, fine. You brought him back. Congratulations. You're idiots. It's basically the point. And every time they do anything, they look like idiots. Tony says, love to see Paul Heyman get the pencil. I think we're past that point. So right now there's a bunch of guys who, to make a long story short, there's a bunch of guys who people are looking at saying they're ready. They're in position. They're getting a good crowd reaction. They've built up but Triple H refuses to do anything with them. So they just kind of let them die on the vine. So people that are getting the reaction that you want are being left there, and you're going back to the well with people that are like, okay. So the audience is starting to slip. They went to Netflix. They have access in Netflix. They have access to hundreds of millions of people. The first show that Netflix did, they did 6 million viewers worldwide after a week.
That doesn't seem like a lot.
It's not a lot. Back in the day in the Monday Night Wars, they did over that US domestically on USA Network. They did more than that back then. 6 million worldwide, but they bragged about it because, whatever, streaming, we're in a new era, whatever. Okay, fine. They're comfortably under 2.6 million now. They've lost over 50% of the audience in only a couple of months. Worldwide, after, by the way, Eric, that's after the whole week of release. That isn't just the one night. That isn't live.
No, that's bad.
So, and the last show they ran, they said they got 17,000 sold in the last pay-per-view. 17,000 tickets sold. Sounds pretty good. I was looking at pictures of that audience. those seats are empty. Those seats are full of John Cena. I don't see anybody sitting in the row after row after. I see row after row of. You might have sold the tickets, but there's nobody sitting in those seats.
The relative, those are seen as relatives.
Yeah, but do you get my point?
Yeah,
they're able to tout
It's
these
just going
numbers.
bad.
The numbers look good. They're able to right now. They're in a position where they're still able to monetize everything. They're still making money. Don't kid yourself. They're still making money. But the metrics are starting to fall across the board. The audience, and at the same time you're doing that, you're raising the prices on tickets across the board. So you are making more money. But you're basically ripping off the audience with a worse product. You're like, hey, would you like to pay 4 or 5 times as much as you would have 6 or 7 years ago? And we're going to give you a worse product?
So how much longer before they dust off Hulk Hogan?
They tried to do it when during the Netflix launch, they brought Hulk Hogan out for it. He got booed out of the building. They did it in Los Angeles. Hogan was there to try to sell his beer. That was part of it. He was trying to promote his All-American beer, whatever. He was in Los Angeles getting booed out of the building. Jimmy Hart had to stand there looking like an idiot with him like standing there, and he's just getting booed by everybody in the building. Nobody wanted to see him. So, right, the old tricks are not working.
I mean, you can't be bringing that guy out. I mean, he can barely move. He's had 1,000 surgeries. He's,
the thing is, Eric, he's not out there to wrestle. He was literally out there to do the ear pose and to grab a microphone and talk. That's all he had to do. And he was still getting booed out of the building. Tony Tani says here, Ron Killings was rumored to be making around $300K a year, which for a comedy character is high. Let's be realistic. But at the same time, like I said, he had been a long time person on that roster. The people around him liked him. And realistically, when you've got somebody like that that's been around that long, they're not just an on-air talent. At that point, they're kind of a producer in the background. Realistically, they're probably helping out with matches because that's what a lot of those guys do if they've been around that long. They'll have them help out with matches. But right now, TKO is operating like a business, and they're kind of just getting rid of a bunch of people, which is fine. They're entitled to do that. But they're doing it in the worst way to always look like douchebags every time they do it. And the audience is starting to respond to that in the sense that, wait, you're charging me this much money, the product's worse, and you're getting rid of my favorites. Maybe I'm not interested in watching your show. So I get it. I'm not going to blame them. I understand it. That's the way it goes. All right. So, obviously, so let's finish up with this. We're sitting at 2-1 for Florida, the Florida Mans. So what are we thinking? Is there momentum now carrying into game 4? Or is this a kind of a reset? Edmonton comes back and maybe makes it more interesting in game 4.
No, I think Edmonton's going to come back and show, why they belong in the Stanley Cup Finals. I mean, they got embarrassed tonight, 6-1. So, especially with two days off, they're going to come back and it's going to be another tough game, but I'm hopefully Florida will be ready for them. But I wouldn't be shocked if, McDavid ends up with a hat trick or something ridiculous on Thursday and they ended up winning. I mean, they're a good team. I mean, they're like I said, they have two of the best offensive players in the last decade on the team. Then sooner or later, they're going to do their thing.
We'll see. Tony says that's why magicians never unveil how they do their magic. It takes away the surprise element. Yeah, but it's too late for that. We're well past that point at this point. And Triple H is going to do it more. He's actually going to reveal more behind the curtain as we keep going. Triple H needs to go DX mode. It's over, man. Triple H sucks. And to be honest, I didn't like Triple H back in the day. And I can't stand the guy now. He's ridiculous. As an executive, he is worse than he is as a wrestler, and I hated the wrestler. Not because he was a bad guy, but because he was in the way. I enjoyed watching other people more.
I liked the Triple H character. I didn't like the Hunter Hearst Helmsley character. That pompous thing that was just horrible. But when he had coming out to Motorhead and holding a sledgehammer and stuff, I like that. That was pretty good.
A lot of people did enjoy it, But for me, it was always like, no, you're a poser. You're Shawn Michaels' bag carrier guy. To me, he never left being that. It didn't matter how they presented him. I was like, no, you're the guy who carries Shawn Michaels' bags. That's who you are. I understand you're in tight with Vince and you married the boss's daughter. I got that part. And he can always play off of it. It's like, no. That's the reason you're still here and you weren't fired 20 years ago. Otherwise, you'd be nothing. Jeff says Florida in 6. Florida man. Okay. 2 days off reset. Edmonton lost a lot of momentum in game 2. Could be. 2 in a row for Florida. I think make it hard for the series, losing a tight game like that at home. Could be. All fair. So I think that's it. I think we're in a good state here. Thank everybody for participating. Appreciate you. Links in the description to everything as always. Thankfully, the beer was here. It got here and it was cold. So that was good. Managed somehow. Thanks to Brandon, Bubbles and Ball Cards, for joining us this evening. And we'll be back with the regular episodes and everything. Friday live stream as always. This will be the podcast episode as well, so it doubles up for both. So we'll see what could be going. Tony says, you can't keep telling people how fake wrestling is. Eventually, this comes grown men play fighting. That ship sailed about 30 years ago. We're way past that point. You don't get to put that. The toothpaste is out of the tube. You can't put the genie back in the bottle. That's done. Now you just got to make it a compelling product for what it is, and people will move on with it. But I understand what you're saying. If you could, on your way out, hit the like button so Eric pays for it. Eric is a douchebag. No one likes him. And if you hit the like button, he suffers. So do it. So don't do it for us. Do it for Eric. So that he pays a heavy price. More videos coming to the channel. Live streams on Fridays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Longest running episodic, whatever it is. 242 consecutive weeks and counting. We will defeat Bruno Sammartino. We will crush him. And that's it. Have yourselves a good night. We're back probably for game 4. Thursday. Because you get a couple days off. More hockeys, Eric. I know you're disappointed. I know you hate the hockeys, but there will be more hockeys on Thursday. Game 4. See? Told you the man doesn't like hockey. If it was 86 Red Sox, he'd be excited. Yeah. Have yourselves a good night. We'll catch you later.